Chapter 4677. The little bastard who volunteered. Those sea beasts were all high-level sea beasts, and they soon discovered Elder Jia and the others. Some of the sea beasts quickly swam toward the group. The already turbid sea water became even more turbid when stirred by these sea beasts. For the sea beasts, some of them did not only rely on their vision to hunt, but also their hearing or other means. Therefore, they worked even harder to stir the sea water. Elder Jia and the rest hurriedly retreated because their vision was obstructed, which was very disadvantageous to them. After Elder Jia and the rest retreated a distance, they discovered that He Xinjiu had disappeared. Elder Jia's head buzzed. When he came down, Xiao Yu had specially instructed him to take good care of that little lass. Why did she disappear in such a short period of time? Could it be that she had lost her way? Elder Jia wanted to find Yunchujiu, but the surrounding seawater was very turbid. Many sea beasts pounced on him, so he could only suppress the worry in his heart and start fighting with the sea beasts. But what puzzled him was that after a moment, the sea beasts turned around and ran away like a tide, and they seemed rather impatient. What was going on? Elder Jia had no time to think about it. He brought his people and swam towards the main island. On one hand, he was looking for He Xinjiu's whereabouts, and on the other hand, he continued to drive away the sea beasts. However, what made him dumbfounded was that there was no sea beast near the main island. What was going on? At this moment, He Xinjiu was riding on the little bastard's body, escaping for her life. The little bastard's current appearance was very different from before. He had completely transformed into the appearance of the young black tortoise. Because He Xinjiu did not fight in the water, the little bastard was basically useless. It was simply sullen. This time, it took the initiative to ask for battle and insisted on coming out to help. He Xinjiu saw that Elder Jia and the others had already retreated far away, so she let the little bastard out. In order to show off, the little bastard released its domineering aura. It immediately shocked the surrounding sea beasts and made them retreat. Master, how is it? I'm very strong now, right? These small fries are not my match, the little bastard said proudly. Before He Xinjiu could praise the little bastard, the sea beasts realized that the little bastard was just a black tortoise cub and rushed over greedily. The little bastard ran away and almost knocked He Xinjiu off his back. Why are you running? Aren't you very powerful now? He Xinjiu scolded angrily. He Xinjiu was so angry. If she had known earlier, she wouldn't have let this trash out. But now, not only was she unable to help, she had even caused more trouble for her. As the young black tortoise was too tempting to the sea beasts, not to mention the sea beasts that were chasing Elder Jia, even the sea beasts that were originally gnawing on the main island had chased after them when they received the news. He Xinjiu looked at the sea beasts that blotted out the sky and covered the earth, and she wanted to cry but had no tears. This damned little bastard. Fortunately, the little bastard's ability was not that great, and his escape method was not bad. His four claws were desperately trying to paddle the water, but the sea beasts did not manage to catch up to him. He Xinjiu suddenly had an idea. If she lured the sea beasts away, wouldn't she have saved the people on the island? Since that was the case, she would lure them further away. After all, she had the water repellent bead, so it would not be a problem for her to live underwater for a long time. This time, the little bastard is unlucky. Day also run, night also run, almost tired to vomit blood. Chapter 4678. Miss is about to go ashore. Fortunately, the sea beasts were also exhausted and couldn't catch up with the little bastard. After running for 2 days and 2 nights, they actually came to the shallow sea area in a daze. He Xinjiu waved her claws at the sea beasts and said with a smug smile, "Scum, Miss is about to go ashore. Are you angry? If you have the ability, come and chase me." The sea beasts were so angry that they were twitching. This brat was too good at breathing. However, they were all high-level sea beasts, and they were huge in size. There was no way for them to survive in the shallow sea area. They could only watch as Hei Shinjo put away the little bastard and swam away proudly. Hei Shinjo stuck her head out of the water with great effort. Even though they were in the shallow sea area, the wind and waves were very strong. If she did not have the water repellent bead, she would have drowned even if she had the cultivation base. Hei Xinjia's heart skipped a beat. Since they were already in the shallow sea area, she might as well try to use the voice transmission talisman. Therefore, she took out Zhao Hu's voice transmission talisman and sent a message. Very soon, the voice transmission talisman began to tremble. Yun Shujiu sent her spiritual sense in and heard Zhao Hu's anxious voice. Junior sister Yun, the Nameless Sword sect has been besieged by the Divine Devil Hall. They want us to hand over some beads or else they will destroy the Nameless Sword sect. Not only our Nameless Sword sect, but the Xuanwu sect, Xuanji sect, and Ascension Island have also been besieged. Yun Shijia's heart sank when she heard this. Was this a coincidence or was it premeditated? However, no matter how powerful the Divine Devil Hall was, it wouldn't be able to control the vast tide, right? Now, the question was, should she return to the Nameless Sword sect or to the Flying Flower Island? She suddenly widened her eyes and cursed. Lan Luochen and the Divine Devil Hall were inextricably linked. Since the other sects were already surrounded, Lan Luochen naturally wouldn't do nothing. Could it be that his goal was the Flying Flower Island? Only then did she realize that she hadn't seen Lan Luochen and his subordinates for the past few days. Could it be that they were plotting something? Thinking of this, Hei Shinjo quickly dived back into the sea and swam quickly towards the Flying Flower Island. When they reached the deep sea, Hei Shinjo released the little bastard again and let it quickly bring her back to the Flying Flower Island. The little bastard was filled with regret. However, it did not dare to resist and could only carry Hei Shinjo back to the Flying Flower Island. When they were close to the Flying Flower Island, the sea beasts swam over excitedly from all directions and surrounded Hei Shinjo and the little bastard in the middle. Hei Shinjo was already burning with anxiety. Now that she was surrounded by the sea beasts in the middle, her eyes immediately turned cold. Scram! All of you, scram! The sea beasts were frightened by the killing intent emitted by Hei Shinjo and retreated a distance. However, they quickly came back to their senses. She was just a little girl. How dare she threaten them? She was courting death. Yun Shujiu looked at the countless sea beasts that were getting closer and thought, I can't force it. It seems that I can only trick them. Therefore, she waved her claws. Wait. I cherish my life the most. I don't need to lose my life for this little bastard. How about this? I can give this little bastard to you, but there are so many of you. Who should I give it to? The sea beasts immediately looked at the other sea beasts warily. Everyone wanted to take the little bastard for themselves, so now the other sea beasts were all enemies to them. At this time, Yun Shujiu said with a smile, how about this? Whoever can tell me why you besieged the Flying Flower Island will have the priority to eat the little bastard. Chapter 46-79. They had been fooled. Little bastard, master, you are so heartless. Have you ever considered the feelings of your baby? You will lose your baby if you do this. The sea beasts were obviously hesitant after hearing Hei Xinjia's words. They did not make any move for the time being. Hei Shinjo said with a smile, how about this? Anyone who wants to tell me the truth can establish a spiritual connection with me. As long as you tell me the truth, not only will you have the priority to eat little bastard, but I will also give him a 9 transformation spirit gathering pill. While speaking, Yun Shujiu took out a few panaceas and shook them. Although they were isolated by the seawater, the sea beasts could still smell the rich aroma of the panaceas. Although they did not know the grade of the panacea, they could immediately tell that it was a good thing that could improve their cultivation speed with their keen sense of smell. A giant red-scaled eel immediately rushed out of the team and wagged its tail at Yun Shujiu, indicating that it was willing to establish a spiritual connection with Yun Shujiu. The reason why the giant red-scaled eel dared to do so was that its spiritual power level was higher than Yun Shujiu's. Therefore, it naturally thought that its spiritual sense was more powerful than Hei Xinjia's. Therefore, it was naturally not afraid that Hei Xinjiu would take the opportunity to establish a temporary contract with it. After Yun Chujiu established a spiritual connection with it, she did not establish a temporary contract with it. Instead, she looked at the other sea beasts with a smile. Is there anyone among you who wants to establish a spiritual connection with me? If not, then not only the pills in my hand, but the little bastard will also belong to it. Seeing this, the other sea beasts could not help but be envious. Immediately, a few more sea beasts established a spiritual connection with Yun Chujiu. Yun Chujiu did not ask why they attacked the main island. Instead, she threw the pills to them first. Seeing this, the rest of the sea beasts could not care less. They scrambled to establish a spiritual connection with Hei Xinjiu. The little bastard stared at them with its small eyes and sneered in its heart. What a bunch of idiots. Did they think that their master would be so kind? Soon, they would cry. Soon, dozens of sea beasts established a spiritual connection with Hei Xinjiu. Moreover, these sea beasts were able to establish a spiritual connection with Yun Chujiu first, which meant that they were the ones with higher spiritual power among the sea beasts. Hei Xinjiu narrowed her eyes, and it was time to reel in the net. Immediately, Hei Xinjiu started to establish a temporary contract with those sea beasts. If others saw the situation inside Hei Xinjia's spiritual sense, they would definitely be dumbfounded. Because Hei Xinjiu didn't establish a temporary contract one by one. Instead, she enveloped all the sea beasts that had established a spiritual connection with her spiritual sense at the same time. Those sea beasts realized that something was wrong. They wanted to break free, but they realized that their spiritual sense was firmly bound. Only then did they realize that they had been deceived. They had been tricked. However, there was no medicine for regret in this world. When they regained their senses, Hei Xinjiu had already successfully established a temporary contract with them. Hei Xinjia's expression instantly changed from a kind and harmless little white rabbit to a big-tailed wolf. Little ones, we are now in the same boat. If you are obedient, even though I won't give you the little bastard, there are plenty of pills. I guarantee that you will have enough to eat. If you are disobedient, the damage to your spiritual sense is not a small matter. You can forget about breaking through in this lifetime. You can choose where you want to go. Hei Xinjiu said to the controlled sea beast with her spiritual sense. Chapter 4680. The reason for attacking the island. Those sea beasts wished that they could tear Hei Xinjiu into pieces, but they had already established a contract. If they attacked Hei Xinjiu, they would be injured by the contract. It would be miserable. Bastard said, you deserve it. It'll make you want to eat the baby. The master of Hei Xinjiu will torture you to death. The remaining sea beasts did not know what had happened. Moreover, their grades were slightly lower, so they did not dare to rashly go forward. They only watched from afar. The giant red-scaled eel, who was the first to board the pirate ship, said with its spiritual sense, what do you want us to do? Don't go too far. Otherwise, we would rather take the risk of damaging our spiritual sense to terminate the contract with you. Yun Chujiu sneered, little loach, you still dare to threaten me? If you are not satisfied, you can try. I can establish a contract with you at the same time. It is enough to prove that my spiritual sense is not just a little bit stronger than yours. If you force it, not only will your spiritual sense be damaged, you might even become a demented beast. It is very interesting to think about it. Those sea beasts were almost angered to death. Interesting? Interesting my ass. This was a naked threat. However, they also knew that what Hei Xinjiu said was true. This human little girl's spiritual sense was so powerful that it was terrifying. She was simply not human. Little loach, tell me what's going on with this tens of thousands of feet tide? Why are you attacking that island? Yun Chujiu said to the giant red-scaled eel. The giant red-scaled eel was so depressed that it wanted to vomit blood. Little loach? Could that thing be compared to it? However, it did not dare to resist, so it could only say aggrievedly, "We don't know what's going on with this tens of thousands of feet tide, but this tens of thousands of feet tide has no effect on us." Hei Shinjo thought about it and agreed. The sea beasts lived in the deep sea, so the 10,000 feet tide did not affect them much. Moreover, the turbid sea water was more conducive for them to hunt. The giant red-scaled eel continued, "The reason why we attacked the island was that the island was emitting an attractive scent. We wanted to find the source of the scent and eat it, so we kept attacking the island." Yunchujo frowned. An alluring fragrance? Thinking of this, Hei Shinjo had a guess. The divine devil hall or Lan Luochen must have done something on the island. As long as the sea beasts kept gnawing on the island, the flying flower island would be destroyed sooner or later. It would be much easier for them to take down the flying flower island. As for the 10,000 feet tide, it might just be a coincidence. Thinking of this, Hei Shinjo asked, "Since the island is so attractive to you, why did you abandon the island to chase after me?" The giant red-scaled eel glanced at the little bastard who was showing off his power and said hesitantly, "No matter how good the smell is, it's not as attractive as the young black tortoise." Yunchujo thought it made sense. She touched her chin and looked at the sea beasts in the distance. Then, she said to the sea beasts that had been contracted, "You guys lure those idiots here in batches. I'll contract them too. Then, we'll do something fun." The beasts had the instinct to seek advantages and avoid disadvantages. Now, they actually knew that they could not fight against Hei Shinjo. They immediately turned into lackeys and lured the poor kids who were watching from afar into the pirate ship in batches. In the end, there were still some weaker ones. Hei Shinjo simply could not be bothered to form a contract with them. After all, they would not be able to stir up any waves. Chapter 4681. Bead in hand. Hei Shinjo looked at her sea beast army and felt a little more confident. She originally wanted to return to the main island to check out the situation, but she did not expect the black bead to start acting like a demon again. Hei Shinjo thought that it would be fine to get the bead first. Anyway, according to Xiao Yu, the forbidden area was not far from here. Hei Shinjo let the sea beasts continue to pretend to gnaw on the main island to avoid suspicion, so she swam towards the forbidden land. If it was not for Xiao Yu and Yunchuji's detailed description, Hei Shinjo would not be able to connect this place to the forbidden land. In front of her was a pile of messy rocks and some seaweed. It was no different from the other places at the bottom of the sea. Hei Shinjo said to the black bead in a bad mood, "This is the forbidden area. You can break the array." The black bead immediately commanded Hei Shinjo to break the array excitedly. Although it could not speak, it could still command Hei Shinjo with emotion or pain. With the help of the black bead and Hei Xinjia's agility, Hei Shinjo finally entered the forbidden area and found a bead as she wished. After feeding the bead to Hei Shinjo, she quickly swam out of the forbidden area and headed for the main island. From afar, she could see the people of Flying Flower Island fighting with the sea beasts. Although the sea beasts listened to Hei Shinjo, it did not mean that they would not eat humans. In their eyes, there were only two species of humans. One was Hei Shinjo, and the other was food. Hei Shinjo narrowed her eyes. Could it be that Lan Luochen had not made a move yet? She understood the reason after thinking about it. He couldn't wait for the sea beasts to consume the people of Flying Flower Island so that his final plan could be carried out more smoothly. Thinking of this, Hei Shinjo swam towards the battlefield on this side. The battle was in full swing, and one of them was Chu Feng. In the end, he was goaded down by Luo Feng. Xiao Yu was worried and asked Elder Jia to come down as well. However, the situation was already messed up. Luo Feng had deliberately lured a high-level sea beast to Elder Jia's side, so Elder Jia did not have the time to take care of Chu Feng. Luo Feng saw Chu Feng fighting with the sea beast and a trace of malice flashed through her eyes. She pretended to bump into Chu Feng inadvertently. After being knocked down by him, Chu Fang's body involuntarily pounced towards the ringing sea blood shark that was fighting with him. The ringing sea blood shark opened its bloody mouth and was about to swallow Chu Fang into its stomach when Luo Feng revealed a smug expression. This Chu Fang was dead for sure. Just as he was thinking, he never expected that the ringing sea blood shark not only did not harm Chu Fang in the slightest, but instead ferociously pounced towards him. Chu Fang was also dumbfounded. He originally thought he was dead for sure this time, but he was actually fine. Chu Fang naturally wasn't stupid enough to save Luo Feng. He had already realized that it was Luo Feng who bumped into him just now. If it was said that Luo Feng didn't do it on purpose, then no one would believe it. Luo Feng's heart was like a beeping dog. Was this ringing sea blood shark sick? Why didn't it eat Chu Fang and instead attacked him? Just as he was thinking, the high-level sea beast that was originally attacking Elder Jia also pounced towards him. Not only that, all the surrounding sea beasts gave up on their original targets and all pounced towards him. Luo Feng did not know what was going on even before he died in such a muddle-headed manner. Elder Jia and the rest were also confused. At this moment, Chu Fang excitedly widened his eyes because he saw He Xinjiu happily swimming towards him. Chapter 4682 was borrowed but never returned. A few days ago, Elder Jia brought back the news of Yun Chujia's disappearance with a guilty look. However, although Master Ouyang, Xiao Yu, and Chu Fang were a little worried, they were not as sad as everyone imagined. Everyone thought to themselves. They usually treated the little girl well, but it turned out that they were only superficial. Little did they know that they were already used to He Xinjiu disappearing from time to time, especially since they could return safely after being missing for more than a year. This time, they should be able to do the same. Chu Fang was very happy to see He Xinjiu, but he used a waterproof bead and could not open his mouth to speak. He pointed at the surface, and everyone immediately floated to the surface of the sea and landed on the main island. As the sea beasts were just putting on an act these few days, the situation on the main island was similar to when Yun Chujiu left and did not continue to deteriorate. As soon as they landed, Chu Fang could not wait to ask, "Junior sister Yun, where have you been these few days? You've really worried us." Yun Chujiu sighed, "Don't mention it. I was really unlucky. That day when I just reached the sea, I was washed away by an undercurrent. If not for my master giving me a lot of waterproof beads, would have drowned at that time. Later, I was washed up on an isolated island. Because my leg was injured, I had to rest for a few days before I swam back with my life." Everyone was suspicious of Yun Chujia's words. Because of such a big storm, how did she survive on an isolated island without a protective shield? However, on second thought, this Yun Chujiu was the successor disciple of Master Ouyang. Perhaps she had something good to protect her life. In addition, there were indeed some isolated islands not far from here, so they believed her. Seeing that He Xinjiu had returned safely, Master Ouyang was naturally very happy. After asking a few questions, he let her go to rest. He Xinjiu had been very tired these days, so she went back to her room to have a good sleep. The next day, she came to see Xiao Yu. "Little Moon, I suspect that Lan Luochen doesn't have good intentions. We have to let him expose his fox tail," He Xinjiu said while blinking her eyes. "I also feel that something is wrong with him. In the past few days, everyone has gone into the sea. Only he and the people from 9 pavilions have stayed put." Xiao Yu had long lost her admiration for Lan Luochen, so she naturally would not speak up for him. "In that case, do as I say," He Xinjiu said slyly. Xiao Yu nodded and looked at her with a complicated expression. "You have been missing for the past few days. Could it be that you went to steal the beads?" He Xinjiu laughed dryly. "Don't make it sound so bad. What do you mean by stealing?" "I just borrowed it. I just borrowed it and didn't return it." Xiao Yu's personality was that she liked whoever she liked. Therefore, she was more or less obedient to Yun Chujiu, so she didn't ask much. In her opinion, how could a disaster happen to a broken bead? Besides, if it happened, it would have happened long ago. After all, the beads of Chao Tian's sect and the ghost city of Tao Tai had already appeared in the world. Thinking of this, Xiao Yu looked at He Xinjiu. Did you also steal the bead of the ghost city of Tao Tai? He Xinjiu shook her head like a rattledrum. Don't accuse me. It has nothing to do with me. Xiao Yu looked at her suspiciously. For some reason, she felt that not only was the bead in the ghost market of Tao Tai taken away by this guy, but the bead in Chao Tian's sect was also most likely related to her. Chapter 4683 was to play along the next day. Island Master Qi, who had yet to recover from his injuries, insisted on going into the sea. No matter how many people tried to stop him, they couldn't change Island Master Qi's mind. Tower Master Luchen's eyes flashed. Island Master Qi, if that's the case, it'll bring some people down with you. I just happened to have a breakthrough recently, so I haven't been able to help. It's just nice that I can help this time. Island Master Qi showed a trace of embarrassment and declined. Tower Master Luochen, there's no need to trouble you. I'm just going down to check it out. There won't be any danger. Island Master Qi, what you said is wrong. Those sea beasts are cruel and violent. What if they hurt you again? I'd better follow you down. Tower Master Luochen insisted. Island Master Qi said impatiently, if I say there's no need, then there's no need. After saying this, Island Master Qi flicked his sleeves and left. Tower Master Luchen's eyes flashed with a faint light, but he didn't say anything. Master Ouyang and the others looked at each other. Why did they feel that this matter seemed a little strange? Why did Island Master Qi insist on going into the sea? Why did Tower Master Luochen insist on following him? Suddenly, Master Ouyang had a thought. Could it be that Island Master Qi was going to retrieve the pearl that was preserved on the Flying Flower Island? The more Master Ouyang thought about it, the more he felt that the possibility was very high. After all, the Flying Flower Island was in a precarious situation now. Who knows when it would be destroyed? Island Master Qi naturally had to retrieve the bead from the forbidden area. Could it be that the forbidden area was at the bottom of the sea? At this moment, Tower Master Luochen left after greeting everyone. He Xinjiu and Xiao Yu exchanged colors and waited quietly. A moment later, a guard came over and reported to Xiao Yu, Miss, Tower Master Luochen and his men forced us to open the enchantment. They went into the sea. If Master Ouyang and the others still didn't understand Tower Master Luchen's plan, they would really be fools. Was he planning to take that bead? Xiao Yu's expression changed and she looked at Master Ouyang and the others with a pleading look. Seniors, to be honest, my master went into the sea this time to retrieve the bead in the forbidden area. Now that Tower Master Luochen has forcefully followed, I'm afraid that he will harm my master. Seniors, please help my master. Even if Xiao Yu didn't plead, Master Ouyang and the others still had to go down to take a look. Firstly, the beads were of great importance, and secondly, Tower Master Luchen's actions were so strange. Could it be that the matter this time was related to him? He Xinjiu naturally followed her. Master Ouyang knew that he couldn't chase her away, so he simply let her be. Everyone followed Xiao Yu to the forbidden area. After Xiao Yu broke the enchantment, everyone entered the forbidden area. This forbidden area was set at the bottom of the sea, and it was actually an underground stone chamber. Because there were stone slabs and enchantments that isolated it, the sea water wouldn't pour into the stone chamber. When everyone entered the stone room, Island Master Qi was holding a box in his hand. Lan Luochen and his men surrounded him in the middle. Island Master Qi saw the eyes of Master Ouyang and the others brighten, and he heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. Master Ouyang said to Lan Luochen, Tower Master Luochen, shouldn't you give us an explanation? Lan Luochen frowned and glanced at Master Ouyang and the others. His eyes paused on Yun Shujiu for a moment, and then he asked Island Master Qi, did you plan this beforehand? Island Master Qi snorted, it's just a trick. I originally wanted to take this bead up and test you. I didn't expect you to really follow me. Now that things have come to this, I advise you to tell the truth. Could it be that those sea beasts and the tens of thousands of feet tide are also related to you? Could it be that you are really colluding with the divine devil hall? Chapter 4684, What do you think? Tower Master Luochen didn't show any panic on his face. He said indifferently, since you've guessed it, I have nothing to say. However, I didn't expect that there would be a tide. Otherwise, I would have succeeded long ago. Tower Master Luchen's original plan was to wait for Master Ouyang and the others to leave, then lure those sea beasts to attack the main island of the Flying Flower Island. In this way, Island Master Qi would definitely enter the forbidden area to take the bead. He would then take the opportunity to seize the bead and destroy the Flying Flower Island. However, he didn't expect that there would be an endless tide that didn't stop for a long time. The reinforcements from the Divine Devil Hall couldn't arrive, so he could only slow down his plan. Tower Master Luochen let out a long sigh. Tower Master Luochen, you are young and promising. Why do you have to collude with the Divine Devil Hall? If you stop now, we can sit down and have a good talk. As long as you sincerely repent, we will pretend that nothing has happened. The reason why Tower Master Ouyang said this was because everyone was trapped on the Flying Flower Island. If there was any internal strife, it would be even harder to escape. Tower Master Luochen laughed self-deprecatingly. Stop. Too late. To tell you the truth, the 3 sects on the island have been surrounded by the Divine Devil Hall. If your people don't hand over the beads in their hands, your sect will cease to exist. What? Master Ouyang and the others were shocked and looked at Lan Luochen in disbelief. Master Ouyang was especially puzzled. Hadn't the Pearl of the Nameless Sword sect been stolen by Wan Qingba of the Divine Devil Hall? He Xinjiu was afraid of being exposed and snorted, Lan Luochen, stop bragging. The Divine Devil Hall doesn't have the strength to besiege the 3 sects of the island. This is just a trick for you to escape. Tower Master Luochen looked at Yun Chujiu deeply and said, Little Jiu, the Divine Devil Hall is much stronger than you think. But don't worry, I will protect you. As long as Di Baiming dies, we will find a beautiful place to live in seclusion and never ask about the affairs of the world. What do you think? What do you think? Lan Luochen, I really don't understand why you have to be the dog of the Divine Devil Hall instead of being a good person. Just give up on this thought. A gigolo will not die. Instead, you are going to die soon. He Xinjiu said coldly. Lan Luchen's eyes instantly became much gloomier. He sneered, Little Jiu, you underestimate me too much. These people are not my match at all. Almost as soon as he finished speaking, Lan Luchen's eyes turned dark blue. The aura on his body also became very terrifying. He reached out his hand and grabbed the box in Island Master Qi's hand. Island Master Qi spat out a mouthful of blood. His original injuries had not fully recovered, and this time, it could be said that he had lost half his life. Xiao Yu cried out in surprise and hurriedly went forward to support Island Master Qi. She also took out a hemostatic pill and fed it to Island Master Qi. Lan Luochen put the box into his storage ring. Then, he looked at Master Ouyang and the others with a malicious gaze that was full of killing intent. Master Ouyang and the others looked very solemn. Lan Luochen had injured Island Master Qi with one move. Even if they joined hands, they would not be his match. Moreover, there were 8 people from the 9 pavilions behind him. At this moment, the stone door was opened again. Chu Feng walked in with several people from the Flying Flower Island. He Xinjiu always had a backup plan, so she naturally wouldn't foolishly bring only Master Ouyang and the others here. Lan Luchen's eyes dimmed, and his figure suddenly moved, grabbing towards He Xinjiu. Chapter 4685, Lan Luochen vomited blood. Yun Chujiu never expected Lan Luochen to suddenly attack her. When she wanted to hide, it was already too late. Lan Luochen restrained her spiritual power and restrained her. The others brought by Lan Luochen immediately protected Lan Luochen and Yun Chuzhou in the middle and moved toward the door. Tower Master Luochen, if you let my junior sister Yun go, I will let you go. Otherwise, you can forget about leaving here. Chu Feng was shocked and angry when he saw Yun Chuzhou being captured. Lan Luochen sneered, You? I'm in a good mood today and I don't want to argue with you. Otherwise, none of you can live. As Lan Luochen spoke, the aura on his body soared. Chu Feng and the people of the Flying Flower Island were intimidated by the huge pressure and watched Lan Luochen and his group leave the cave. Master Ouyang and the others were about to chase after them, but they heard a loud sound. They didn't know what Lan Luochen did, but the entire cave began to collapse and the entrance was blocked. By the time they finally cleared the cave entrance, Tower Master Luochen and the others had already disappeared. The time they could stay in the water was limited, so they could only swim back to the main island for the time being and make a long-term plan. On the other side, Lan Luochen took Yun Chuzhou out of the cave and swam toward the shore. Yun Chuzhou was surprised to find that Lan Luochen and the others had water-repellent beads in their hands. This could also explain why they were able to do something under the island. Yun Chuzhou thought to herself, this divine devil hall was quite rich. They actually had so many water-repellent pearls. She suddenly had a thought. Could it be that the mastermind behind the trap for the mermaid big brother was that shit master of the divine devil hall? If that was the case, it could explain why the divine devil hall had so many water-repellent pearls. She then thought of how Lan Luochen looked very similar to the mermaid big brother, especially when Lan Luchen's eyes turned blue just now. He looked exactly like the mermaid big brother. Could it be that Lan Luochen was the son of the mermaid big brother? This guy thought wickedly that perhaps the master of the divine devil hall was a woman who had taken a liking to the mermaid's big brother. Then, she forced herself to give birth to Lan Luochen and imprisoned the mermaid's big brother because of love and hate. This guy came up with a brilliant story in a short while. Of course, this guy was just playing with his own imagination, but one thing was certain, this Lan Luochen was definitely related to the mermaid's big brother. She remembered that the mermaid brother said, "Be careful of Lan," which should be to be careful of Lan Luochen. What was the background of this Lan Luochen? At this moment, Lan Luochen began to cough violently, but he did not let go of Yun Chuzhou's hand. He Xinjiu thought wickedly, yes. It would be better if she vomited blood. Just as she was thinking, she saw Lan Luochen spit out a mouthful of blood. His face was extremely pale, but he still held Yun Chuzhou's arm tightly. "Pavilion Master, are you all right?" A subordinate hurriedly swam over and asked. This subordinate was an old acquaintance of He Xinjiu. He was the former imperial preceptor of the East Phoenix Kingdom, Yuanji, and also the Lihan Palace's palace master. Lan Luochen shook his head, took the pill that Yuanji handed over, and swallowed it. Yun Chuzhou could feel that Lan Luchen's spiritual power was greatly decreasing, and her heart rejoiced. This Lan Dregs might have used some secret technique just now, which was why he suffered a backlash. Her chance to escape was here. A moment later, hundreds of high-level sea beasts surrounded Lan Luochen and the others. Yuanji was dumbfounded. Although he had the medicinal powder that could attract the sea beasts, it was useless. Why would these sea beasts attack them? Chapter 4686 has nothing to do with me. While Yuanji was still bewildered, the sea beasts had already roared and pounced on them. This was because He Xinjiu had told them, "Little ones, it was these few people who tampered with the island and made you work hard for them. They are playing you for fools." Hearing this, the sea beasts were naturally furious. They wanted to tear Lan Luochen and the others into pieces. Although Yuanji and the others had high spiritual power, they were alone. Moreover, Lan Luchen's situation was getting worse. They were no match for the sea beast army. He Xinzhou had used her spiritual sense to break through Lan Luchen's spiritual power confinement. She wanted to kill Lan Luochen directly, but she thought that this blue dregs was very strange. Maybe he had some hidden cards. She had to escape first. Therefore, taking advantage of Lan Luchen's attention on the sea beasts, He Xinzhou suddenly swung her arm to break free from Lan Luchen's restraint and swam to the middle of the sea beasts. Lan Luochen looked at He Xinjia's smug face and helplessly clenched his hands. Was this not enough? Couldn't he keep little Jiao by his side like this? His chest felt stuffy, and he spat out another mouthful of blood. Pavilion Master. Yuan Ji hurriedly swam to his side and stuffed another pill into his mouth. Yun Shujiao looked at Lan Luchen's appearance and felt very relieved. She said with a smile, "Lan Dregs, you still want to threaten me? Have you asked my sea beast army? Come, tell me, how do you want to die?" When Lan Luochen heard this, his eyes were filled with despair. "Little Jiao, you really want me to die?" Yun Shujiao snorted coldly. "You want to kill my pretty boy and even become a lackey of the divine devil hall? Of course I want you to die." When Lan Luochen heard this, his eyes turned deathly silent. "Good, very good, very good." Lan Luochen spat out another mouthful of blood and fainted. Yuan Ji looked at Yun Shujiao and said with grief and indignation, "Yun Shujiao, in the past, I thought that you were a kind-hearted little girl, so I didn't kill you completely in the southern continent. If I had known that you would be so ruthless, would have ignored the Pavilion Master's order and killed you. Otherwise, our Pavilion Master would not only lose the position of the young master of the Lan family for you, but also lose half of his life." Yun Shujiao laughed lightly. "Yuan Ji, we stand on different sides, so our thoughts are naturally different. Lan Dregs is your master, so you will naturally think that he is right. However, in my opinion, his so-called kindness to me stifles me. He should never have harmed the person I like for the sake of his so-called kindness to me. He should also not have become an accomplice of the divine devil hall for his selfish desires." In order to achieve his goal, he sacrificed countless innocent people. Not to mention, hundreds of the disciples of the Flying Flower Island have died these days. Do they deserve to die? In the end, what he said was for my own good. What does it have to do with me? You. Yuan Ji said you in a row, but he did not know how to refute. It was not that he did not try to persuade his Pavilion Master to give up his obsession with Yun Shujiao, but he did not listen at all. He even did not hesitate to destroy his bright future, and even his life was on the verge of being destroyed. Although Yun Shujiao said that she was cold and emotionless, her heart was still a little complicated. She and Lan Luochen could have become best friends, but now the situation had turned out to be like this. It really made people sigh. She understood Lan Luchen's character too well. If she didn't kill him today, he would fight to the death with her. In fact, he would even think of ways to kill Di Baiming. Hence, even if she couldn't bear it, she could only kill him. Chapter 4687 looked forward. Yun Shujiao gritted her teeth and waved her hand. "Go. Kill them all." The sea beasts first came to vent their anger, and second, to show off in front of Yun Shujiao, they took the lead and pounced ferociously. Yuan Ji knew that it was useless to say more, so he could only protect Lan Luochen to prevent him from losing his life. Yuan Ji and the others were no match for the sea beast army. Yun Shujiao watched from afar and wanted to order the sea beasts to stop attacking a few times, but she still bit her lips and did not make a sound. She knew that if she softened her heart today, it was very likely that in the future, because of her softness, the people she cared about would be hurt. In the past, it was because of her softness that she let go of Zhuo Piaoyu and almost caused her grandfather to lose his life. She could not make the same mistake again. The people that Lan Luochen had brought with him died one by one. In the end, only the injured Yuan Ji and the unconscious Lan Luochen were left. Yun Shujiao simply turned her head away and did not look at the miserable state of the two of them. However, the water suddenly shone brightly. When she regained her sight to look, there were no signs of Lan Luochen and Yuan Ji. They had actually used some secret technique to escape. Yun Shujiu did not know what to feel. She was a little disappointed, surprised, and a little relieved. She smiled bitterly. In the end, she was still a little soft-hearted. She only hoped that Lan Luochen would not provoke her again. Otherwise, she would not be soft-hearted the next time. Yun Shujiu was stunned for a moment. She threw a big basin of pills to the sea beasts and let them divide it among themselves. The sea beasts looked at the big basin of pills, and they were all dumbfounded. Oh my God, are all human pills now stored in basins? This stupid girl isn't using candy to fool them, right? Yun Shujiu ignored the excited sea beasts and swam towards the direction of the flying flower island. She wasn't in a good mood. If she had known that the situation would be like this, she would have rather not know Lan Luochen back then, so as to avoid bringing about these troublesome matters. She then thought of what Yuan Ji had said about Lan Luochen giving up his position as the young master of the Lan family for her. Could it be that the Lan family was the power behind the 9 pavilions? The 9 pavilions were related to the Divine Devil Hall. Was the Lan family also related to the Divine Devil Hall? Were they cooperating with each other or were they dependent on each other? Or was the Lan family just a part of the Divine Devil Hall? Yun Shujiu thought for a long time but could not come up with a conclusion. She could only muster up her spirit and float to the surface. However, she was surprised to find that the tide had receded and the sea had returned to its usual calm. Even if it was raining continuously, there would eventually be a time when the rain would clear up. Instead of letting bad things affect her mood, she might as well think about happy things. This fellow thought of the box that Lan Luochen had snatched away and burst out laughing. Once again, he had perfectly shifted the blame. She could imagine that Lan Luochen would be so angry that he would vomit blood again when he saw that there was only a broken stone in the box that he had spent so much effort to snatch. While He Xingjiu was thinking, she heard someone shouting in the distance, Junior Sister Yun, is it really you? That's great. Yun Shujiu looked up and saw a big ship in the distance. Chu Feng, Master Ouyang, and the others were all on it. They were probably looking for her. She smiled. For the sake of these people who cared about her, she had to look at money happily. Ah, look forward. Chapter 4688. Chu Feng and the others were stunned when they saw Yun Shujiu's bright smile. All this time, due to Yun Shujiu's jumping off, they had subconsciously neglected her appearance. At this moment, the girl with a bright smile in the blue sea was so beautiful that they couldn't open their eyes. He Xingjiu didn't know that the others were mesmerized by her beauty. She quickly swam to the side of the big ship and jumped onto the deck. Master Ouyang came back to his senses and asked, "Where's Tower Master Luochen? How did you escape?" He Xingjiu giggled. "We encountered a large group of high-level sea beasts. They couldn't take care of themselves, so I took advantage of the chaos to escape." Naturally, everyone didn't believe her words. However, it was good that they could return safely. Moreover, when the 10,000 feet tide subsided, Master Ouyang and the others had received the news from their respective sections. They were all burning with anxiety. Therefore, they had come out on the big ship this time to find out Yun Shujiu's whereabouts, and also to leave the Flying Flower Island and return to their respective sections. Yun Shujiu used a spell to dry the water on her hair and said, "If you go back like this, you'll be like meat buns beating dogs. It's better not to go back." Master Ouyang and the others, Master Ouyang glared at her. "Don't spout nonsense. Master, what I said is true. Think about it. Now that the Divine Devil Hall has surrounded the 3 sects on the island, if you guys go back like this, wouldn't you be walking into a trap?" Yun Shujiu pouted. Sect Master Huang of Xuanji Sect nodded. Although this little girl's words are not pleasant to hear, they make sense. If we go back like this, not only will it be useless, we might even fall into a passive situation. Little girl, do you have any good ideas? Yun Shujiu looked at Sect Master Huang in admiration. This old man had good taste. I think it's better this way. Island Master Qi will bring the people of Flying Flower Island to follow us to Ascension Island. If we work together from the inside, we will definitely be able to wipe out the people of the Divine Devil Hall in one fell swoop. After that, we will head to the nearest Nameless Sword Sect, then to Xuanji Sect and Xuanwu Sect. Finally, we will wipe out 9 pavilions in one fell swoop. This crisis will be resolved. In addition, the Soaring Flower Island suffered heavy losses this time, and Island Master Qi has brought some people to help the other sections. When the situation calms down, everyone will come together to support the reconstruction of the Flying Flower Island. Wouldn't that be killing 2 birds with 1 stone? Everyone felt that what Yun Shujiu said made a lot of sense, especially since Island Master Qi now found He Xinjiu pleasing to the eye. He had just suffered heavy losses this time, and he didn't expect He Xinjiu to give him such a good idea now. This wasn't a problem that He Xinjiu had to worry about. This fellow had only slept well these few days and was very tired. He immediately went into the cabin to catch up on his sleep. He Xinjiu was woken up by everyone's exclamation. She opened her eyes in a daze and saw Xiao Yu rushing in. Xiaojiu, it's bad. Our ship is surrounded by a large group of high-level sea beasts. Yun Shujiu was stunned for a moment before a thought flashed through her mind. Could it be that those idiots were looking for her? Xiao Yu saw Yun Shujiu in a daze and said anxiously, "Don't be in a daze. If they attack the ship in a while, we can only jump into the sea." Yun Shujiu glanced at Xiao Yu and faintly said, that, they are most likely here to play with me. Chapter 4689, Blood Pearl. Xiao Yu looked at Yun Shujiu as if she was looking at an idiot. Xiao Yu, are you still asleep? Are you talking nonsense? Alright, quickly follow me to the deck. Yun Shujiu did not explain and followed Xiao Yu to the deck. She saw Master Ouyang and the others with worried expressions as they looked at the high-level sea beasts gathering around them. Sect Master Huang of Xuanji Sect said in surprise, "Could it be that Tower Master Luochen did something before he left? Otherwise, why would these sea beasts attack us?" Former Xiaojiu said that these sea beasts also attacked the people of the 9 pavilions, right? I guess they have a grudge against humans. After all, sea beasts are very cruel by nature, Sect Master Chen of Xuanwu Sect guessed. Master Ouyang sighed, no matter what the reason is, there are so many sea beasts. Even if we can escape, we will suffer heavy losses. He Xinjiu blinked and said weakly, "Well, these sea beasts are not attacking us. I guess they are here to play with me." Everyone, Master Ouyang was so angry that he almost slapped her to death. What kind of situation was this? She was still spouting nonsense here, and she was still here to play with her? Did she think that those sea beasts had nothing better to do? Besides, they wouldn't play with her no matter how idle they were. At this moment, those sea beasts saw He Xinjiu's figure and immediately roared. Although Master Ouyang and the others didn't understand what the sea beasts were saying, He Xinjiu did. "Are you just going to leave irresponsibly like this? You should at least cancel our contract first, right? That's right, you irresponsible woman. Hurry up and cancel our contract. Yes, if you don't cancel the contract, we will follow you all the time and annoy you to death." He Xinjiu curled her lips, thinking that she was not a fool. If she cancelled the contract with them now, the sea beasts would definitely take revenge on her. She said to Master Ouyang, "Master, I will go down and play with them for a while." Before Master Ouyang could say anything, He Xinjiu jumped off the deck and disappeared into the sea. Master Ouyang was both angry and anxious. Wasn't she courting death? There were so many sea beasts around, they would definitely eat her until not even her bones were left. Almost at the same time, Master Ouyang found that the sea beasts had also dived into the water. His heart sank. It's over, it's over. His precious disciple had finally succeeded in courting death. Master Ouyang was about to jump into the sea to save Yun Shujiu, but he was stopped by Sect Master Huang. Master Ouyang calmed down and thought about it. It made sense. This disciple of his was greedy and afraid of death. He wouldn't jump into the sea to die for no reason. At this moment, everyone cried out in surprise. Not far away, a huge bloodthirsty whale emerged from the water. On its back sat a smiling little girl. Who else could it be but Yun Shujo? This guy was holding a huge pearl in his hand and shining it at the sun. That is a rare blood pearl. It is said that only one blood pearl is produced out of 10,000 huge clams. Moreover, this blood pearl is so big. It is simply a priceless treasure. Island Master Chi said enviously. He, as the island master of the Flying Flower Island, had never seen such a big blood pearl. How could this little girl get one so easily? Chapter 4690. Because I'm good-looking. Master Ouyang and the others didn't say anything, because they felt that Island Master Chi's main point was wrong, okay? Now, they should focus on why that little girl didn't die, and why that bloodthirsty whale was actually willing to carry her. Also, the other sea beasts were following behind the bloodthirsty whale. From the looks of it, it seemed that the little girl was the leader. Hei Xinjiu raised the bead in her hand and looked at it. She nodded in satisfaction and put it into her storage ring. Then, she took out a blue seaweed and sniffed it. Island Master Chi exclaimed again, that is a heaven-grade herb, the sinking dragon jade belt grass. It is said that it only grows near the deep-sea whirlpool. Where did she get it from? While Island Master Chi was exclaiming in surprise, he saw Hei Xinjiu rubbing the sinking dragon jade belt grass, and eating it. Island Master Chi stomped his feet anxiously. What a sin! What a sin! She is wasting a precious herb. How could she eat such a rare herb just like that? Just as he was lamenting, he saw Hei Xinjiu taking out another seaweed with small white flowers and eating it. Island Master Chi's head was buzzing as he said with a trembling voice, That's a heaven-grade herb with a fragrant white jade. It's such a waste to eat it just like that. It's such a waste. If Island Master Chi did not have a shred of rationality left in him, he would have jumped off the deck to fight Yun Shujo with his life. Next, when Island Master Chi saw Yun Shujo taking out a rare or photo and a precious herb to eat, he felt that either his eyes were playing tricks on him or he was hallucinating. As the sea beasts had willingly offered too many tributes, Hei Xinjiu was no longer interested in them. She lay on top of the bloodthirsty whale and basked in the sun. The giant red-scaled eel asked carefully, We have already given you our precious items. Can you help us cancel the contract now? Yun Shujo crossed her legs and said with a smile, Don't worry. I'm a man of my word. When we reach the shallow sea area, I will cancel your contract. However, you have to perform well. Otherwise, I might turn the temporary contract into a permanent contract. The sea beasts were so aggrieved that they almost vomited blood. However, they could not do anything to Hei Xinjiu. They could only follow behind her while feeling wronged. From time to time, they would change their formation for her to see because of Hei Xinjiu's bad taste. Fortunately, Hei Xinjiu was very generous. Occasionally, she would dive into the sea and throw pots of elixirs to them, so they had no choice but to comply. Master Ouyang and the others went from being dumbstruck at the beginning to becoming numb in the end. Island Master Chi thickened his skin and asked Hei Xinjiu, Little Zhou, why do they listen to you so much? Yun Shujo said with a smile, Because I'm good-looking. In the past, he might have had thoughts of killing Yun Shujo to steal her treasures, but things were different now. Yun Shujo had already become the successor disciple of Master Ouyang, and she might be the future sect master of the Nameless Sword sect. He naturally didn't dare to do anything. Moreover, it was thanks to Yun Shujia's idea of helping Xiao Yu to expose Tower Master Luchen's true colors this time. He was more or less grateful to Hei Xinjiu. Of course, if Island Master Chi knew that Hei Xinjiu had secretly tricked him several times, the gratitude in his heart would probably be fed to the dogs. Chapter 4691 Killing and Seizing Treasures. 2 days later, everyone arrived at the shallow sea area. Hei Shinjo kept her word and immediately cancelled the temporary contract with the sea beasts. When the sea beasts saw Hei Shinjo wave her claws and leave without taking a cloud, they felt a little disappointed. What a heartless woman. Everyone followed the plan they had discussed earlier and rushed to the Sea of Broken Stars where Ascension Island was located. However, they did not expect to encounter the ships of the Divine Devil Hall midway. It turned out that there was a spy of the Divine Devil Hall on Ascension Island who took advantage of the people's uncertainty to help the Divine Devil Hall obtain the bead. When they were evacuating, they met with Master Ouyang and the others. Hei Shinjo rolled her eyes. She was worried that she did not have a way to obtain the bead of Ascension Island, but she did not expect it to come to her. Her gaze immediately fell on the person in the lead. The pearl must be on him. She had to think of a way to lure this person to a place where there was no one, and then kill him and steal the treasure. The two sides soon started a chaotic battle. Not only did Master Ouyang bring the elites of the Flying Flower Island, but Master Ouyang and the others also had extraordinary strength. The leader knew that he wasn't a match for them, so he took advantage of the chaos and fled towards the deep sea. He had a water-repellent bead on him. He felt that as long as he could drag it out a little longer, he would be able to escape from the pursuit. Although Island Master Chi had a water-repellent bead, he was severely injured previously, so he did not participate in the battle. Island Master Luo of Ascension Island chased after him for a while, but because he did not have a water-repellent bead, he had to give up. What he did not know was that after Hei Shinjo, who was hiding behind a patch of seaweed, saw that he had left, she rode Little Bastard and quickly chased after that person from the Divine Devil Hall. Previously, the Little Bastard had released his domineering aura in order to show off, so he had attracted many sea beasts to chase after him. This time, he had learned his lesson and restrained his divine beast aura, so he did not attract any trouble. The person from the Divine Devil Hall originally thought that he had already escaped to heaven, but when he turned his head, he saw Hei Shinjo riding on the Little Bastard. Hei Shinjo was too famous, so this man had seen Yunchuji's portrait. He was delighted. He did not expect Yunchujo to come to him voluntarily. It was time for him to make a contribution. Therefore, he did not continue to swim forward. Instead, he waited for Hei Shinjo with a hideous smile. Yunchujo, I think you have lost your mind. You actually came to seek your own death. Yunchujo said with a smile, to die? I'm here to take your life. De Hua, 10,000-year-old single pig, attack. That person was a little confused. What a mess. Just as he was in a state of confusion, De Hua, who had turned black, pounced towards him. That person was shocked and quickly dodged to the side. Several sharp water arrows shot over again. He turned his head and saw that the little bastard's body had become several times larger. It was staring at him with its round eyes. The man regretted it. If he had known that Yunchujo was so abnormal, he would not have stopped just now. He should have run away quickly. However, it was too late. After a moment, that person had turned into a dead body. Hei Shinjo hurriedly opened that person's storage ring and found a bead inside. Before she could take a closer look, the black bead jumped up. Yunchujo could only feed the bead to the black bead. Chapter 4692 Sea of Water Mirror. Yunchujo looked at the corpse of the person from the Divine Devil Temple and thought of Qi Ying who was in the spiritual beast bag. She rolled her eyes and thought that this body might be useful in the future. Therefore, she put the corpse into her storage ring and returned to the battlefield. At this time, the battlefield was nearing its end. All the people from the Divine Devil Temple, except for the leader, were annihilated. Although everyone was frustrated that they hadn't been able to capture the leader, there was nothing they could do. They first arrived at Ascension Island to settle the aftermath before rushing to the Nameless Sword Sect. To everyone's surprise, when they arrived at the Nameless Sword Sect, the Divine Devil Hall troops that had surrounded the Nameless Sword Sect had already retreated. It wasn't just the nameless sword sect. The people who had surrounded the Xuanwu sect and Xuanji sect had also retreated. However, the beads of the two sects had already been taken away by the people of the Divine Devil Hall. The process was the same as Ascension Island. Both were stolen by spies. In fact, if He Xinjiu hadn't accidentally exposed Wan Qingbao's matter, the nameless sword sect's beads would have been lost long ago. After an urgent discussion, Master Ouyang and the others decided to go to the 9 pavilions to settle the score. However, when they arrived at the 9 pavilions, they realized that the building was empty. The huge 9 pavilions were already empty. Although they didn't understand, there was nothing they could do. However, they still had many things to do. For example, they had to search for the remnants of the 9 pavilions and the Divine Devil Hall. For example, they had to redivide their territory and help with the reconstruction of the Flying Flower Island. Of course, He Xinjiu didn't care about these things. What bothered her the most was that the Divine Devil Hall had gotten their hands on the pearls from the Xuanwu sect and Xuanji sect. How was she going to explain this to He Zhu? Fortunately, He Zhu had swallowed 2 pearls not too long ago, so she did not do anything evil for the time being. He Xinjiu thought about it and decided to find a suitable nest for the group of giant winged birds in the spirit beast bag. Otherwise, she would not be able to feed these birds. As Chu Feng had stayed on the Flying Flower Island, and Zhao Hui and the others were inner sect disciples who had gone on a sect mission, He Xinjiu had to leave the Nameless Sword sect alone. Master Ouyang had been very busy recently, so he had no time to take care of her. When he found out that this fellow had left the Nameless Sword sect alone, he was furious. This little girl was getting bolder and bolder. Wasn't she afraid of encountering the remnants of the Divine Devil Hall or the 9 pavilions? He immediately sent a voice transmission talisman to He Xinjiu, telling her to scram back. However, the voice transmission talisman did not succeed. Master Ouyang's heart immediately jumped to his throat. Did his precious disciple seek his own death? Master Ouyang quickly sent people to look for He Xinjiu. The other sects also sent people to look for He Xinjiu after receiving Master Ouyang's request for help. On the other side, after He Xinjiu left the Nameless Sword sect, she looked at the map for a long time. In the end, she felt that the Sea of Water Mirror, which was hundreds of thousands of miles away from the Nameless Sword sect, was very suitable. Not only was the Sea of Water Mirrors not prohibited from flying, but it was also rich in products. Most importantly, there was a tall cliff that was suitable for shadow-skimming giant winged birds to build their nests. When those shadow-skimming giant winged birds heard that He Xinjiu was finally going to help them find a place to build their nests, they were so excited that they were about to cry. They thought that they would only be able to live in the spirit beast pouch for the rest of their lives. He Xinjiu sat on the flying spirit tool and wandered for a few days before she finally arrived at the Sea of Water Mirrors. Looking down through the porthole, she saw that the blue sea was as smooth as a mirror, and it was extremely beautiful. He Xinjiu nodded her head in satisfaction. It seemed that she had chosen the right place. Chapter 4693, Heaven's End. Cliff. Yunchujo had originally planned to fly directly to the cliff and release her life, but when this fellow caught a glimpse of an island filled with yellow fruits in mid-air, he immediately changed his mind. After this fellow landed on the island, he saw that the tall trees on the island were filled with golden fruits. It was simply tempting. However, this fellow rolled his eyes. According to common sense, there were so many fruits here that they should have been plucked long ago. After all, this place was not particularly far from the coast, unless there was something powerful on this island or the fruit was poisonous. No matter which one it was, it could not stop He Xinjiu's gluttonous heart. She plucked a fruit and finished it in no time. It was soft, sweet, and very delicious, but it was extremely poisonous. This guy plucked another fruit. Just as he was about to eat it, he heard someone shouting in the distance, "Little girl, don't eat it. That fruit is poisonous." Yun Chujo had seen a fishing boat on the sea earlier. She turned around and saw a fishing boat not far from the island. It was the person on the fishing boat who spoke. Yun Shujo took the fruit and walked to the beach. She shouted at the man, "Thank you, uncle. I picked these fruits to be used as medicine. Why don't you help me pick these fruits? I'll pay you for it. How about that?" The fishermen on the boat were naturally very happy when they heard that. There was no risk in picking the fruits. It was much better than fishing. In the end, both sides agreed on a price. The fishermen helped Hei Shinjo pick the fruits after they came to the island. Hei Shinjo watched them pick the fruits and chatted with them. "Uncle, are you the fisherman from around here?" "Yes. We live by the sea. We don't have any other skills. We live by hunting fish, prawns, and sea beasts," the middle-aged man in the lead said. "I think the sea of the mirror is calm, and it is not forbidden to fly. The harvest should be good, right?" The middle-aged man smiled bitterly. It was good at first. But a month ago, a lot of people came to occupy the Heaven's End cliff in the deep sea, and they strictly forbade us from getting close to it. Even the people within 100 miles are not allowed to get close to it. In this way, we can only hunt some worthless goods in the shallow sea. We can only hope that those people will leave as soon as possible. Hei Xinjia's heart skipped a beat, and she asked, "Who are they? Why are they occupying the Heaven's End cliff all of a sudden?" "Who knows? They all went there by flying spiritual artifacts. When they banished us, they were all so fierce that we didn't dare to provoke them." The middle-aged man shook his head and sighed. Yun Shujo thought to herself, a month ago, there was still a large group of people. Could it be those scumbags from the Divine Devil Hall? The more she thought about it, the more she felt that the possibility was very high. So many people from the Divine Devil Hall had disappeared in an instant. They must have hidden somewhere. Because of the thin spiritual power in the Sea of Water Mirror, very few people would come except for some fishermen. It was not impossible for the Divine Devil Hall to choose this place to hide. Now, the question was, should she find a place where she could send a sound transmission talisman to inform Master Ouyang, or should she go and investigate first? This fellow rubbed her chin and thought for a while, but decided to go and investigate first because, first, although the Sea of Water Mirror was not prohibited from flying, she could not use the talisman. If she wanted to send a message to Master Ouyang, she had to go back to the shore. Secondly, those people might not be from the Divine Devil Hall. If she made a mistake, it would be embarrassing. Thirdly, if those people were really from the Divine Devil Hall, this was a great opportunity for her to keep the pearl for herself. Naturally, she could not miss it. Chapter 4694, Fairy Golden Fruit. Half a day later, the fisherman had picked all the fruits on the island. Yun Shujo said with a smile, "Uncle, I'm very curious about fishing. Can I take your fishing boat out to sea to play?" Hearing that, the middle-aged man naturally agreed. Immediately, Hei Shinjo got on the fishing boat and followed the fisherman out to sea to fish. Although the deep sea area had a circumference of 100 li, the water mirror sea was very large. Even in the shallow sea area, it would take 2 to 3 days to sail. Bai Li and the other fishermen were also very grateful. Yun Shujo usually chatted and laughed with the fishermen and occasionally helped to hunt some troublesome sea beasts. The fishermen were naturally very grateful to her. However, one night, Yun Shujo disappeared without a trace. The fishermen searched for a long time, but they still couldn't find her. However, they found a lot of high-grade spirit stones and waterproof beads in the cabin where Yun Shujo lived. Someone said, "Could it be that the little girl was sent by God to be blessed?" "What you said makes sense. That little girl is extremely good-looking and so kind. She must be a fairy from heaven who came down to earth. After we go back, we will set up a statue for her. The fruit she asked us to pick is called golden fruit. Why don't we call her Golden Fruit Fairy from now on?" Hei Shinjo did not know that she had been mistaken for a fairy. At this moment, the guy had already swam to the bottom of the Heaven's End cliff. In order to gather information, the guy had brazenly attached himself to the bottom of a patrol ship and eavesdropped on the conversation of the people above. "Bossly, is that Tower Master Luochen still not awake?" "I think so." If he had woken up, our leader would have returned to the heavy cloud continent long ago. "I heard that he planned to give the pearl in his hand to Tower Master Luochen when he wakes up." "That's true. I don't know where Leader Lu, who is in charge of Ascending Island, went. I heard that he also succeeded, but his whereabouts are unknown." Yun Shujo listened for a while longer before she silently dived into the deep sea. This fellow pondered for a moment and listened to the conversation between the two people. The two pearls from the Xuanwu sect and Xuanji sect were still in the hands of the two leaders. This was truly a heaven-sent opportunity. However, how could she get her hands on them? However, Qi had to cooperate with her. How could Qi cooperate with her willingly? Qi, that idiot, was extremely loyal to that shit master of the Divine Devil Hall. If he told the truth, he would definitely not help her. He might even take the opportunity to let the Divine Devil Hall capture her. She had to think of a good idea. Yun Shujo rolled her eyes and swam to a small island outside of the Heaven's End Cliffs territory. Then, she let Qi out. These days, Qi did not even have a chance to come out for a breather. What was worse was that Xiao Hanyo and the others bullied him for no reason. It was simply a life worse than death. "Yun Shujo, why did you suddenly show kindness and let me out?" Qi asked unhappily. Yun Shujo threw Chief Lu's body on the ground. "Here, your new body, and it's even from the Divine Devil Hall. Are you satisfied now?" Qi looked at the corpse on the ground suspiciously, then looked at Yun Shujo. "What tricks are you playing now?" Yun Shujo looked at him speechlessly. "I just found my conscience and felt that this was a bit too much for you." "Why are you addicted to being a rabbit?" Qi naturally did not believe that Yun Shujo had a conscience, but he really did not want to be a rabbit anymore, so he immediately possessed Chief Lu's corpse. Chapter 4695. I was a little conflicted. Qi had been a rabbit for quite some time, so he was already used to walking on four legs. When he suddenly turned back into a human, he subconsciously fell to the ground. Yun Shujo laughed so hard that she almost passed out. Qi could not help but become angry out of embarrassment. He raised his hand and slapped Hei Shinjo. Hei Shinjo naturally would not sit still and wait for death. She easily dodged Qi Ying's attack. Qi Ying was currently possessed, so his spiritual power could not be restored to its true level. He was only on par with Yun Shujo. In addition, he was not used to walking on two legs, so he was naturally not Hei Xinjia's opponent. "Hey, little shadow, are you planning to repay kindness with enmity?" Yun Shujo said as she dodged. Qi Ying knew that he could not beat her, but he remembered his purpose. He immediately stopped and snorted. "Who asked you to mock me? I look like this because of you. Little shadow, what you said makes sense, so I found my conscience and decided to let you go. There is a heaven-ending cliff ahead. The remaining forces of the Divine Devil Temple are gathered there. You can go and find them now," Yun Shujo said with a smile. Qi Ying looked in the direction where Yun Shujo pointed. He could vaguely see a towering cliff, but he did not believe that Yun Shujo would be so kind-hearted. His eyes flickered and he said, "I promise to follow you in the future. I want leave." "Little Ying, I didn't expect you to be so affectionate. Since you are so kind, I'll tell you the truth. You know Tower Master Luochen, right?" Hei Shinjo said sadly. Qi Ying frowned. He knew little about the Tower Master Luochen. "It seems that you don't know. Let me tell you. Tower Master Luochen is Lan Luochen, a member of the Lan family in the Heavy Cloud continent." "A member of the Lan family?" Qi Ying interrupted Yun Shujo with a cry of surprise. "Yes, alas, don't mention it. He could have become the young master of the Lan family, but he gave up because of me. Instead, he became the Tower Master Luochen of the 9 pavilions in the towering sky continent. Back then, Hei Shinjo explained the truth and falsehood of what had happened in the past. Then, she said hesitantly, although I've heard him this time, my heart is wavering. I feel that he treats me much better than the gigolo does. You're right. The gigolo not only always leaves me alone, but he also has a grudge against me in my previous life. The most infuriating thing is that he even has a lover. So, I'm a bit conflicted. I don't know who to choose. I feel that Tower Master Luochen should be at the Heaven's End cliff, but I haven't thought about whether I should go and see him. I don't know if he will forgive me. Yun Shujo tugged at the corner of her clothes uneasily as she said this, looking as if she was filled with the worries of a young girl. The position of the young master of the Lan family was an incredible one. That Lan Luochen even gave up his position for this smelly girl. It could be said that he was deeply in love with her. It was possible for this smelly girl to be moved. Qi Ying pondered in his heart. He had to facilitate this matter. In this way, Yun Shujo and Di Baiming would definitely turn against each other and his goal would be achieved. Thinking of this, he said, I think that Lan Luochen is really much better than Di Baiming. Since he gave up his position as the young master of the Lan family for you, why would he be angry with you? As long as I see you, I will definitely be filled with joy. Why don't we head to the Heaven's End cliff together? Chapter 4696, The Bottomless Pit. Yun Shujo tugged at the corner of her clothes and said hesitantly, although what you said makes sense, but I haven't thought about it yet. After Yun Shujo finished speaking, she simply sat on a large rock and supported her cheeks with a conflicted look. Qi Ying saw the situation and quickly said, what's there to think about? The Lan family is one of the top forces in the Chongshao continent. Since Lan Luochen has the ability to fight for the young master, he must have quite a big force. Isn't it better to follow him than to follow Di Baiming and be on tenterhooks? Yun Shujo sighed, that's easy for you to say. It's not like you can just let go of a relationship. Moreover, I almost killed Lan Luochen. His subordinates hate me to death. Even if Lan Luochen can accept me, his subordinates will definitely oppose it. Qi Ying felt that Yun Shujo had already wavered when he heard that. However, he was afraid that Lan Luochen's subordinates would not accept her. Isn't that easy to handle? Can't you just make a contribution? You helped Lan Luochen kill Di Baiming, so those people will naturally accept you. Besides, as long as Lan Luochen can accept you, why do you care so much? Yun Shujo shook her head, you already said that the Lan family is a big family. Even if you don't consider those subordinates, the elders of the Lan family might not accept me. Forget it, you can leave. I'll go back and look for the gigolo. At least I'll be with him. There won't be so many people who oppose it. Qi Ying would never give up. He kept trying to persuade her. While he was talking until his mouth was dry, Yun Shujo said hesitantly, why don't I follow you to the heaven-breaking cliff to take a look? You can test his attitude before I decide whether to expose my identity. Qi Ying was overjoyed. Sure, of course. Then let's set off now. Unexpectedly, Yun Shujo hesitated for a moment and said, still no. Forget it, I'd better not go. Why not again? Qi Ying was about to go crazy from anxiety. You've been hiding in the ghost region previously, and they don't know your identity. If you go, they might not believe you. They might just kill us directly. Yun Shujo said worriedly. Qi Ying thought about it. Although his identity was not low, those country bumpkins might not know him. They might really kill him. He suddenly slapped his thigh. Yun Shujo, you still think you're smart. My current body is not my main body. I'll just go to the heaven-breaking cliff with this identity. Wait until you and Lan Luochen reveal your identity, then I'll explain my identity. Qi Ying patted his chest. That's simple. No matter what, I am still a member of the Divine Devil Hall. When the time comes, I will just say that I am injured. This way, my voice will be a little hoarse and my spiritual power will be a little lower. Yun Shujo nodded, but she hesitated for a long time before she said, all right, I'll listen to you. I'll pretend to be one of your subordinates. Qi Ying only had one thought, and that was to let Yun Shujo and Lan Luochen get together. Therefore, he did not know that this was all a trap that Hei Shinjo had dug for him. Yes, a bottomless pit. Hei Shinjo swallowed a disguise pill and took out a black mask of the Divine Devil Hall from her storage ring and put it on her face. The two of them discussed for a while more before Yun Shujo summoned a ship and the two of them sailed towards the heaven-breaking cliff. Chapter 4697, Entering the Heaven's End. Cliff. Qi Ying was in a good mood. He felt that there was no chance of failure. Even if he took 10,000 steps back, Yun Shujo, this wretched girl, was lying to him. The Heaven's End cliff was the lair of the Divine Devil Hall. Even if she had wings, she would not be able to escape. Moreover, he had already felt that although Yun Shujo did not care about what he had said about enemies and lovers, she definitely cared about it in her heart. In addition, Lan Luochen had a deep affection for her, so it was normal for her to have changed. Hei Shinjo paced up and down on the deck anxiously. Qi Ying was convinced by her troubled look. In fact, he did not know that Hei Shinjo was about to burst into laughter. Qi Ying had been tortured by her before, but now he was even more eager to get more benefits. Qi Ying could not be tricked to death. The two of them were soon discovered by the patrolling ships of the Divine Devil Hall. The people on top shouted, "Stop! If you continue to walk out, don't blame us for being rude." Yun Shujo snorted coldly, "How dare you? This is our Lord Lu." The people of the Divine Devil Hall were stunned when they heard that. Lord Lu? Which Lord Lu? Yun Shujo said impatiently, "Of course it's Lord Lu who is in charge of besieging Ascension Island. Why don't you lead the way?" "Ah, so it's Chief Lu. I'm really sorry." However, words have no basis. Before the man could finish his words, Qi Ying threw Chief Lu's jade token to them. When those people saw it, they immediately nodded and let him go. They even sent a guard to lead the way. Yun Shujo threw the guard who led the way 10,000 high-grade spirit stones and then said, "Almost all of our Lord Lu's men were wiped out. It's inevitable to be ostracized at the Heaven's End cliff. Tell me about the situation inside." When the guard of the Divine Devil Hall saw that Yun Shujo was a woman and was led by Chief Lu, he thought that Yun Shujo was Chief Lu's lover. When he saw that she was generous, he immediately told her everything he knew. He told her what he knew. Yun Shujo soon found out what she wanted to know, and she began to think about her next plan. Qi Ying did not doubt Yun Shujo's actions. He thought that Yun Shujo was doing all this for Lan Luochen. After all, she had almost killed Lan Luochen before, so it was not wrong for her to be careful. Soon, the ship arrived at the bottom of the Heaven's End cliff. The people of the Divine Devil Hall had dug a huge cave on the Heaven's End cliff. They had also dug a few small caves in the cave for the time being. The guard accompanied Yun Shujo and Qi Ying through the sentry post and entered the cave. The guard immediately saluted respectfully. "Chief Qin, Chief Lu is back." Chief Qin waved his hand at the guard, and the guard tactfully left. Chief Qin brought Qi Ying and Yun Shujo into a cave, and then asked with a frown, "Brother Lu, are you injured?" Qi Ying said with a hoarse voice, "Originally, I had successfully brought my brothers with me. I didn't expect to meet those people from the Flying Flower Island on the sea. After a bitter battle, only she and I survived. Fortunately, the bead is still in my hands. Otherwise, the gains would not be worth the losses." Chief Qin nodded. "It's good that we have the bead. It's much better than me getting nothing for nothing. Liao Zhong and Liang Xian have been mocking me. Now that you're back, let's work together to teach them a lesson." Chapter 4698. A person who played two roles. A trace of disapproval flashed across Qi Ying's eyes. They were both serving the Lord, how could they fight fiercely in private? However, he was afraid that he would be exposed, so he could only laugh and say, of course, but my injuries haven't fully recovered yet, so let's not be impatient for now. I wonder where Tower Master Luochen lives? I'll go and meet him. Qi Ying did not forget his purpose. He had to think of a way to see Lan Luochen, test his intentions, and then let Yun Chujiu reveal her identity. Chief Qin frowned. Brother Lu, you don't know? Tower Master Luochen is seriously injured and still in a coma. Otherwise, we would have already returned to the Heavy Cloud continent to report our mission, so why would we still be in this godforsaken place? Qi Ying was stunned. Still in a coma? Yun Chujiu, that wretched girl, was really ruthless. However, he still asked despite knowing the answer, seriously injured? What happened? Chief Qin shook his head. I don't know exactly what happened. It's just that Yuan Ji beside him sent a message for us to gather here, so we all came over. I think this matter has something to do with Yun Chujiu. Tower Master Luochen is good in every way, but he is obsessed with that bitch. I think he will completely wake up after this. I don't think so. Tower Master Luochen even gave up being the young master of the Lan family for Yun Chujiu. How could he give up so easily? Qi Ying said disapprovingly. Speaking of the Lan family, even if Yun Chujiu changes her mind, the Lan family will not accept her even if her status is low. At most, she will only be a concubine. Leader Qin sneered. Qi Ying became anxious when he heard that. He raised his voice, what you said is wrong. Yun Chujiu's status may not be low. I think the Lan family will agree. Leader Qin looked at Qi Ying in surprise. Brother Lu, from your tone, why do you seem to be speaking on behalf of Yun Chujiu? Qi Ying's heart skipped a beat, and he quickly added, I'm not speaking to her. I'm analyzing the facts. That Lan Luochen has already been obsessed with Yun Chujiu. Even if the Lan family doesn't agree, he will think of a way to persuade her. Chief Qin nodded. You're right. I don't know what kind of bewitching potion Yun Chujiu has put on Lan Luochen to insist on protecting her. If it weren't for him, we would have killed Yun Chujiu several times already. However, the Lan family is still useful, so we can't offend him too much. Yun Chujiu stood by the side with her hands down, but her heart wasn't calm. Chief Qin in front of her was Wan Qingba. To be precise, he wasn't Wan Qingba. The Wan brothers were probably killed by the Divine Devil Hall. Then, Chief Qin used Wan Qingba's identity to sneak into the Nameless Sword sect. Furthermore, according to what he said, Lan Luochen had once saved her when she did not know. Just as Yun Chujiu was feeling a little conflicted, Qi Ying took his leave on the grounds that he was tired. Yun Chujiu was afraid that Leader Qin would eavesdrop, so she shamelessly played two roles. Aya, you damned ghost, you're still taking advantage of me after suffering such serious injuries? Beauty, we've finally arrived at a safe place, so of course we have to be intimate. Come, let me have a fragrance. Annoying. Qi Ying had an expression as if he had been struck by lightning. Heavens, this damned girl's skin was too thick. Could that Lan Luochen be blind? Chapter 4699. Joining hands. He Xingjiu was very good at acting. After performing a shameless act, she said, Sir, I think Leader Qin is a good man. The other two didn't come to greet you. I don't believe that they don't know that you're back. Qi Ying was dumbfounded. He heard Yun Chujiu reply in his hoarse voice, Brother Qin is naturally a good man. It's just that he didn't get the pearls due to bad luck. Sigh, I'm seriously injured now. Why don't I help Brother Qin snatch the bead from those two people? The credit will go to us brothers. As for those two people, just kill them. Qi Ying was about to speak. Yun Chujiu said in a sharp voice, Sir, if you can't do it in the open, then do it in the dark. Why don't you discuss with Leader Qin tomorrow to make those two people? I happen to have a unique poison here. They will definitely not notice. In this way, if Chief Qin gets the bead, you can also take over their power. Otherwise, if you are alone, you will definitely be ostracized in the future. This, let me think about it. Brother Qin might not agree. Chief Qin's eyes lit up as he leaned against the cave wall to eavesdrop. Yes, Lu did not have any subordinates now, so he was naturally anxious to expand his power. Why not join forces with him to kill Liao Zhong and Liang Xian? While he was feeling emotional, Qi Ying was so angry that he was about to faint. Fortunately, he had not lost his mind and shouted loudly. He said in an extremely low voice, "Yun Shujiu, what are you doing?" Yun Shujiu showed a wronged expression. I heard from Chief Qin that your divine devil hall and the Lan family should be in a cooperative relationship. The more beads Lan Luochen gets, the better it will be for him. I almost caused him to lose his life previously, so I will think of a way to give him the beads of those two people. He will definitely forgive me. Qi Ying felt that something was not right, but he was eager to make a contribution, so he subconsciously threw that suspicion to the back of his mind. He asked in a low voice, "What do you want to do?" That Leader Qin heard what I said just now. He might say something to test you tomorrow. You just make it clear, and then he will naturally come up with a plan to deal with those two people. You just have to agree. Yun Shujiu blinked her eyes and said. Qi Ying had no other choice now, so he could only nod his head and agree. Sure enough, the next morning, Leader Qin came to visit. After several tests, he said, "Brother Lu, since you have the intention and I also have the intention, how about this? I will hold a banquet for you tonight and call those two people over. When the time comes, we will poison the wine and kill them." Qi Ying nodded. All right. It's a deal. That night, Leader Qin invited Liao Zhong, Liang Xian, and Qi Ying to his cave to hold a banquet. Chapter 4700. You tricked me. Qi Ying was bewildered. Brother Qin, what do you mean by this? What do you mean? If you don't do it for yourself, the heavens will punish you. Do you really think that I will split the pearls and forces equally with you? You are too naive. As long as you die, I will have 3 pearls and all the people here will belong to me. Don't worry, after you die, I will take good care of you, my lover. Chief Qin said with a lewd and evil smile as he looked at He Xinjiu. Qi Ying looked at Chief Qin angrily. How can the divine devil hall have a scum like you? Chief Qin was amused by his words. Lu, are you crazy? What do you mean by a scum like me? How much more noble are you than me? Wasn't it your idea to kill the 2 of them? It seems that you don't know what's good for you. Go, kill him. The 3 beautiful women revealed a cold smile and immediately attacked Qi Ying. He Xinjiu was about to step forward to help, but Chief Qin stretched out his arm to stop her. Beauty, follow me from now on. I won't mistreat you. Yun Shujiu revealed a pitiful look. Is what you said true? You want kill me? Of course I want kill you. I'll treat you well. Leader Qin smiled with malicious intent. Then I'll listen to you. I'll be your concubine from now on, He Xinjiu said obediently. Qi Ying, who was trapped on the other side, almost died from anger. That stinky girl didn't come to help, and she actually wanted to be that Qin's concubine? At this moment, Yun Shujiu raised her hand, and a bag of powder flew in all directions. This powder happened to be mixed with the antidote that Chief Qin and the others had taken beforehand to form a lethal poison. Chief Qin and the 3 women sensed that something was wrong and wanted to use their spiritual power to suppress the poison. Yun Shujiu naturally wouldn't give them the chance. Yun Shujiu released the dumb cuties. Chief Qin wanted to call for help, but he had activated the protective array. Even if he called for heaven piercing, the people outside couldn't hear him. A moment later, Chief Qin and the 3 women were all dead. On the other side, Qi Ying also fell to the ground because of the poison. He said with difficulty, "Quick, give me the antidote." Yun Shujiu ignored him. Instead, she put all the corpses on the ground into her storage ring. She used her spiritual sense to scan the storage rings of Liao Zhong and Liang Xian. Sure enough, she found 2 jade boxes inside, each with a bead. "Yun Shujiu, you, give me the antidote." Qi Ying was so angry that he was about to faint. Although he could possess the body, once the body died again, he could not possess it again. Yun Shujiu squatted beside him and said with a smile, "I don't need you now. You can go without worry." As Yun Shujiu said that, she raised the big kitchen knife and directly chopped off the head of Chief Lu, who was possessed by Qi Ying. Qi Ying's primordial spirit immediately floated out from the corpse and said angrily, "Yun Shujiu, what do you mean?" Yun Shujiu threw a rabbit to him. "You can either make a new rabbit, or I will make your soul scatter. It's your choice." "Are you kidding me?" Qi Ying would be a fool if he didn't understand now. Yun Shujiu said with a smile, "What do you think?" "Cut the crap." 3 numbers, 1, 2. Qi Ying immediately possessed the rabbit the moment Yun Shujiu said 2. It was not like he had never made a rabbit before. What was the big deal? Chapter 4701. You go take care of the pavilion. Master Qi Ying was furious and hateful at the same time. He was furious that he couldn't see through this darn girl's black heart after such a long time and actually believed her nonsense. It was simply extremely stupid. He was furious that this darn girl simply ate people without spitting out their bones. It was too detestable. But what could he do? If he wanted revenge, if he wanted to avenge his previous humiliation, he could only endure the humiliation. Wasn't it just being a rabbit? It didn't matter. What? Yun Shujiu saw that Qi Ying was so angry that he was about to faint. She pursed her lips and put him into the spirit beast pouch. She changed into the clothes of one of the women and put on a mask as she swaggered out of the cave. She said to the guards, "Guard well. I'll be back soon." The guards didn't ask. After all, they didn't know that Leader Qin was going to kill people, so they let Yun Shujiu leave. Yun Shujiu left the sealed area and was about to turn to the passage leading to the exit when a shout came from behind. "Stop!" Yun Shujiu looked back and found that the person who spoke was Yuan Ji. Her head buzzed. Why did Yuan Ji come here if he didn't take good care of Lan Luochen? She didn't dare to disobey and could only stop in her tracks. She respectfully lowered her hands and stood up. "What are your orders?" The reason why Yuan Ji was addressed as "you" was that he didn't know how these people usually addressed Yuan Ji. In order to avoid revealing his identity, he used a safe "you." Yuan Ji didn't suspect anything and said, "Follow me to take care of our pavilion master." Yun Shujiu only had one thought in her mind, "Fuck. What a joke. Let her take care of Lan Luochen." If her identity was discovered, wouldn't it be difficult for her to escape? However, if she refused, Yuan Ji would probably fly into a rage out of humiliation and might attract trouble. Yun Shujiu considered the possibility of running away by force again. There was still some distance from the exit. If she were to use force, she basically had no chance of winning. What should she do? Yuan Ji frowned when he saw that Yun Shujiu did not respond for a long time. "What are you waiting for? Why aren't you following me?" Yun Shujiu was so anxious that her palms were full of sweat. Suddenly, an idea came to her and she said excitedly, You mean you want me to take care of Tower Master Luochen? The very intimate kind? I am too excited. Should I go take a bath first?" I knew that Tower Master Luochen was interested in me. I knew that he would not be indifferent to my feelings. However, now that he has just recovered from his serious illness, can he do that kind of thing? But it doesn't matter. If his physical strength is not good, I will take the initiative. He did not trust the people of the Divine Devil Hall. It was just that Lan Luochen had been calling Yun Shujia's name while he was unconscious. He planned to find a woman to pretend to wipe his sweat and talk to her. However, the woman in front of him actually coveted their tower master's beauty. If he called her over, wouldn't that be inviting a wolf into the house? Yuan Ji coughed and said, I suddenly remembered that I'm looking for a male guard. You can go. Yun Shujio was disappointed at first, but then her eyes lit up. I can pretend to be a man. Please let me go. I'll definitely serve Tower Master Luochen well. Yuan Ji turned around and left. No need. No need. Hey, don't go. Are you really not going to consider it? I am very good at serving people. Especially a handsome man like Tower Master Luochen. Hey Shinjiu shouted. Yuan Ji walked faster, looking like he was running away. Hey Shinjiu pursed her lips. Little guy, I can't play you to death. Chapter 4702 was Yun Shujio, right? Seeing that Yuan Ji had gone far away, Yun Shujio quickly jumped towards the cave entrance. Just as she was about to reach the cave entrance, she heard a commotion coming from inside. She thought to herself that something bad must have happened. The guards at the entrance did not know what was happening inside, so they stretched their necks to look inside. Yun Shujio was extremely grateful that there was no way to use the sound transmission talisman here. Otherwise, she would really have no way to survive. She took 2 steps to the entrance of the cave and said solemnly, Sai, you guys still don't know, right? The 4 commanders are fighting, and even Yuan Ji from the 9 pavilions has gone to stop them. I'll go outside and take a look to prevent any trouble. The people from the Divine Devil Hall were shocked and they heard that. It turned out that the 4 leaders were fighting. No wonder there was such a big commotion. When they were slightly distracted, Yun Shujio had already jumped out of the cave and into the sea. Just when the guards felt that something was wrong, many people ran out and vaguely heard, Don't let that bitch escape. Only then did they realize that things were bad. Yun Shujio did not care about their reactions. This bastard dived into the bottom of the sea and rode the little bastard to the shallow sea as fast as he could. She had killed 3 leaders of the Divine Devil Temple and even stole their pearls. The people of the Divine Devil Temple would definitely risk their lives to catch her. They could not afford to be careless. This bastard did not forget to swallow the 2 pearls along the way. This way, even if he was caught, he would not be afraid of being snatched back. As he ran, he used his spiritual sense to say to the Black Pearl, You've had your fill. I'm going to lose my life for you, you Black Pearl. Hei Shinjiu acted as if she was dead, without any reaction. Hei Shinjiu was furious. She had raised an ancestor. Hei Shinjiu thought that the people from the Divine Devil Temple might intercept her on the shore. After all, flying was not prohibited here, and the speed of flying spiritual devices was much faster than that bastard. However, she did not dare to take the risk of leaving through the air. This guy thought that it was better to hide on an island first. The people from the Divine Devil Temple would not think that she would dare to do so. This was called the most dangerous place, but it was the safest place. Hence, this fellow swam to a small island at the edge of the Divine Devil Hall's sphere of influence. He took off the hidden spirit ring on his hand and entered the dense forest. At this moment, the Heaven's End cliff was already in a mess. Fortunately, at this moment, Lan Luochen woke up and controlled the situation. With a little analysis, all the clues pointed to the woman who left in a hurry. Yuan Ji was so regretful that his intestines turned green. If he had known this would happen, he would have kept the woman. Now that he thought about it, the woman must have said that on purpose to arouse his disgust and then escape. He suddenly had a feeling in his heart that the woman could not be Yun Shujio, right? But, how was this possible? Why would she come here? Lan Luochen was extremely certain that the woman was Yun Shujio, but he didn't say it out loud. If the people of the Divine Devil Hall knew that little Gio had stolen the 2 pearls, there would be endless trouble in the future. However, the search still had to be carried out. Moreover, he had personally led Yuan Ji and his men to search the surface of the sea. He felt that based on Yun Chujia's intelligence, she wouldn't brazenly leave from the sky. Most likely, she would find a place to hide for the time being. He planned to find her and explain the stakes to her so that she would hand over the 2 pearls. Then, he would bring her to the Lan family. From then on, she could only stay by his side. Chapter 4703 The Depths of the Sea of Water Mirrors. Yunchujo grabbed a nest of spirit bees to help her guard while she made a hammock and lay down on it to rest. The range of activity of those spirit bees was only limited to this island. Therefore, it was only reported that there were people patrolling on the surface of the sea and in the air. For the time being, no one had approached this island. Hearing this, Hei Shinjo could not help but feel relieved. As long as time passed, the search of the Divine Devil Hall would definitely be relaxed. At that time, she would think of a way to leave. Anyway, she had food and drink. As long as she did not use her spiritual power, she would not be discovered. Just as this fellow was thinking, the spiritual bees suddenly became restless. The huge pressure made the demon beasts on the island panic and let out shrill cries. Yun Chujo looked up and saw that the original full moon had been covered by Wu Yun. Was the heavenly lightning going to strike her? Hei Xinjia's heart felt like it was going to explode. Damn it, this god must have done it on purpose. He was afraid that she would not die. Putting aside whether she would be struck by lightning, wouldn't it be telling everyone that she was on this island? Even if she could dodge the lightning, she would be surrounded by those people. It was a dead end. She had thought of using the lightning to scare off the people from the Divine Devil Temple, but it would take at least 2 days to reach the shore. The lightning would only last for 10 to 10 hours, so she had no way to use the lightning to reach the shore. Besides, the people from the Divine Devil Temple must have set up an inescapable net on the shore. It would be suicide to go there. Before she could think of a way, the lightning had already struck down with a rumble. The trees that were struck by the heavenly lightning instantly turned into charcoal. Hei Shinjo released Xiao Hanio and Xiao Mogu to absorb the lightning while she supported her cheeks to think of a solution. This fellow gritted her teeth. Now, she could only do the opposite. She had to go to the other side of the heaven-ending cliff, which was the depths of the water mirror sea. With her flawless tongue, she had once again contracted a sea beast army. The people of the Divine Devil Hall could not do anything to her for the time being. With such a big commotion in the Sea of Water Mirror, Old Man Ouyang and the others might guess that this was the Divine Devil Temple's lair. By then, she would be saved. Wu Yun felt that this method was feasible, so he put away Xiao Hanio and Xiao Mogu, gave Wu Yun a little finger, and ran toward the beach. Wu Yun in the sky naturally would not let Hei Shinjo go so easily. He followed closely behind, crackling non-stop. As Hei Shinjo leaped into the sea, the lightning also drilled into the sea. Although the speed had slowed down a little, it still hacked towards Hei Shinjo. Wherever Yun Chujo passed, there was a piece of fish and sea beast corpses floating on the surface of the sea. The entire water mirror sea was like a huge, seafood hot pot. Tower Master Luochen and his subordinates were searching for Yun Chujo, and they happened to be not far from this island. When he saw the situation here, he immediately guessed that Yun Chujo was at the bottom of the sea, and he couldn't help but feel happy. As long as the heavenly lightning ended, he would be able to find her. Thus, he brought his men and followed from afar. He wanted to be closer, but when he saw the sea beast corpses on the surface of the sea, he gave up on this plan. Hei Shinjo swam all the way to the deepest part of the water mirror sea. This was the territory of the high-level sea beasts. Normally, there were few people around, so it could be said that this was their paradise. However, with the arrival of Hei Shinjo, their miserable lives began. Chapter 4704. Wu Yun. The high-level sea beasts widened their eyes in horror when they saw Hei Xinjiu barging into their territory with a bolt of lightning. Hei Xinjiu bared her little white teeth at them. "Kids, hurry up and establish a spiritual connection with me. If anyone is disobedient, I will chop them into roasted meat." Of course, the sea beasts would not give in obediently and run in all directions. However, even if they escaped, they would not be able to escape. Hei Xinjiu was simply wicked. She would chase after the rocks or coral reefs at the bottom of the sea. That place was basically the nest of the sea beasts. Moreover, some of them even had young. Even if they could escape, those young would not be able to escape. The sea beasts had no choice but to establish a temporary contract with Hei Xinjiu. Therefore, the heavenly thunder did not do anything to Hei Xinjiu. Instead, it helped her take in a bunch of sea beasts' underlings. Hei Xinjiu said with a smile, "Brother Wu Yun, thank you so much. If it weren't for your help, I wouldn't have been able to take in so many underlings. You are really a sky-high good Wu Yun. Let me show you a heart-to-heart." Wu Yun was so angry that he was trembling. Heart-to-heart? Show her my ass. She was so angry that she was going to die. Unfortunately, the power of the heavenly lightning in the water was not as strong as on land, so she had no way to kill Hei Xinjiu. Wu Yun only felt that he had nowhere to vent his anger. Coincidentally, he saw the ship that had been following Lan Luochen, and he was so angry that he hacked at it. Even in his dreams, Lan Luochen had never thought that Wu Yun would be so unprofessional and would actually hack at the wrong person. Although he was not injured, the ship was destroyed. Most importantly, Yun Chujiu pulled away from him. By the time Wu Yun dispersed and he brought his men to catch Hei Xinjiu had already subdued a bunch of sea beast underlings. It was as difficult as ascending to the heavens for them to catch her. After Hei Xinjiu was struck by lightning, her spiritual power level had broken through to the 6th level of the Nirvana stage. She found a lone island and spent her days being domineering. It was extremely comfortable. On the other side, Lan Luochen was angry and anxious, but he was even more determined to get Yun Chujiu. He had initially been conflicted about one thing, but now he felt that he could make a decision. However, the matter of little Jiu stealing the 2 pearls could not be spread out. He glanced at Yuan Ji and said, "Do it." Yuan Ji was a little hesitant. "Pavilion Master, are we really going to kill them all? If we do this, if the Divine Devil Hall finds out, I'm afraid that the Master will not let you off easily. They are all abandoned children now. No one will care about their lives. After we settle this, we will return to the Lan family," Lan Luochen said gloomily. Yuan Ji had not finished speaking when he felt the killing intent from Lan Luchen's body. He could only shut his mouth embarrassedly and turn around to leave. Lan Luchen's eyes flickered. "Little Jiu, we will meet soon. This time, you won't be able to escape even if you have wings." 2 days later, Hei Xinjiu received news from the patrolling sea beasts that the people from the Divine Devil Hall had all left. Yun Chujiu initially thought that the sea beasts were trying to trick her. However, after a few days, she tried to approach the Heaven's End cliff and realized that the people from the Divine Devil Hall had really left. This guy was puzzled. What was going on? Could it be that the people from the Divine Devil Hall had received some other order and left? But no matter what, this was a good thing for her. This guy released the group of shadow-skimming giant winged birds and let them settle down in the Heaven's End cliff. Although there were many high-level sea beasts here, they couldn't fly, so they weren't a threat to the shadow-skimming giant winged birds. Chapter 4705. Visitors. Yun Chujiu was worried that the people of the Divine Devil Hall were playing some kind of trick. She was afraid that they would set up an ambush by the sea. She sent the shadow bird to scout many times before she left the Sea of Water mirror on her flying spirit tool. On the way, she met people from the 5 major sects who were looking for her and returned to the Nameless Sword sect together. Master Ouyang reprimanded her. He Xingjiu naturally wouldn't be stupid enough to talk about the two pearls. She only said that she wanted to go to the Sea of Water Mirror to have fun, but she met people from the Divine Devil Hall. Master Ouyang and the people from the other sects were very surprised. Why did the people from the Divine Devil Hall leave for no reason? Where did they go? However, after a round of investigation, they didn't find anything. The people from the Divine Devil Hall and the 9 pavilions seemed to have disappeared into thin air. In the following period of time, He Xingjiu had a very comfortable life in the Nameless Sword sect. Other than the occasional lightning strike, everything else went very smoothly. She even went to the sword hut to visit Jian Feng once. When Yun Shujiu left the earth fire tunnel, Jian Feng had initially hoped that Yun Shujiu would come in to look for him. However, after waiting for a long time, he did not see Yun Shujiu coming over again. He could not help but feel disheartened as he felt that Yun Shujiu was trying to trick him. However, it made sense. Who would take the risk to come in and visit a remnant soul that was attached to his obsession? Therefore, after seeing Yun Shujiu, she was overjoyed. The old and the young chatted very happily. Yun Shujiu originally wanted to try to bring Jian Feng into the demon realm. In this way, it was equivalent to regaining a physical body. Not only Jian Feng, but also the remnant souls that she placed in the 10,000-year-old green jade bottle. It would be great if she could bring them into the demon realm or the ghost realm. However, her idea was ridiculed by the black bead and the brick. Although they could not speak, the mockery was very strong. He Xingjiu was so angry that she was twitching. Yun Shujiu could only give up this idea temporarily. However, she felt that since the ghost clan was the remnant souls that the ghost ancestor had collected in the beginning, there must be a way to turn Jian Feng and the remnant souls into the ghost clan. Perhaps it would be possible after she recovered her memory. On this day, He Xingjiu was sunbathing in the courtyard. Her right eyelid kept twitching non-stop, and she was feeling a little flustered. This fellow could not help but frown. The gigolo had not moved for a long time. Could it be that something had happened? However, Di Baiming was in the Chongshao continent, and she had no way to contact him. She comforted herself. The gigolo had said that he would not die. He would definitely be fine. Even so, she was still a little flustered. She could not wait to go to the Heavy Cloud continent to find out what was going on. However, she did not know how to go to the Heavy Cloud continent. Her spiritual power level was not at the peak of the 9th level. She could only be anxious but could not use her strength. Yun Shujiu was pacing restlessly in the courtyard when her identity jade token rang. Master Ouyang's voice came from inside. "Little Jiu, come to the meeting hall." After entering the meeting hall, she noticed that the atmosphere inside was a bit strange. She glanced around and found that Master Ouyang did not sit in the main seat but in the guest seat on the left, while the guest seat on the higher right sat a square-faced old man. Yun Shujiu was puzzled. In this towering continent, Master Ouyang's position could be said to be very important. Why did it seem like this square-faced old man's position was even higher than Master Ouyang's? Chapter 4706 Yun Shujiu pondered as she bowed to Master Ouyang. Master Ouyang said with a complicated expression, "Little Jiu, this is the senior of the Lan family in the Chongshao continent. He has something important to talk to you about." Yun Shujiu's heart skipped a beat. Lan family? What was that scum Lan Luochen playing at this time? Or was it that Lan Luochen was angered to death by her, so he came to settle the score with her? This fellow did not make a sound in accordance with the principle of if the enemy does not move, I will not move. The old man sized up Yun Shujiu and said, "You are Yun Shujiu? Is your grandmother Lan Qishan?" Yun Shujiu was stunned. How did it involve her grandmother? Could it be that her grandmother was related to the Lan family? She wanted to deny it, but since this person was already sitting here, he must have investigated it thoroughly. It was useless even if she denied it. She could only nod and admit it. The old man asked again, "Did your grandmother leave anything behind? For example, a jade token?" Yun Shujo blinked her eyes. "Old man, I don't know you. Why should I tell you this?" The square-faced old man was stunned by Hei Xinjia's question. His eyes flashed with impatience and he said coldly, "Your grandmother is my biological sister. You should call me uncle and grandfather. Do you think I have the right to ask these things? Uncle and grandfather?" Yun Shujo did not think that this uncle and grandfather was kind enough to recognize their relatives. She chuckled and said, "You said that my uncle and grandfather are my uncle and grandfather? You should have a proof, right?" The old man snorted and took out a jade slip. Yun Shujo saw that this was an identity document from the Chongshao continent. It was written very clearly on it. The old man's name was Lan Dimeo, and he was a member of the Lan family's third branch. The old man carefully took out a family tree and handed it to Yun Shujo. Yun Shujo saw her grandmother's name on it, and it was indeed Lan Dimeo's biological sister. After reading it, Yun Shujo immediately burst into tears. "Great uncle, are you really my biological great uncle? Little Jio has been waiting for you for so long. No wonder I felt my blood boiling when I saw you just now. So this is the power of blood." Lan Dimeo was frightened by this guy's voice. What nonsense was this? This Yun Shujo isn't a little crazy, right? However, on second thought, the status of the Lan family was extraordinary, so it was normal for this little girl to curry favor with them. "Now you can give me the things left by your grandmother, right?" Lan Dimeo asked with some urgency. Yun Shujo immediately took out the box left behind by the Lan family. "Great uncle, this is the box left behind by my grandmother." Lan Dimeo hurriedly took the box and scanned it with his spiritual sense. Then, he frowned. "This is it? There's nothing else?" Yun Shujo was at a loss. "That's right. What else should there be?" Lan Dimeo stared at Yun Shujo. Seeing that she didn't have the slightest bit of guilt, he thought to himself, could it be that the jade token really wasn't with her? Forget it. Regardless of whether there are other things or not, since I already know of your existence, I naturally want you to acknowledge your ancestors and return to the Lan family. You can follow me back to the Lan family." Lan Dimeo said with some disdain. Yun Shujo saw Lan Dimeo's expression and had a guess in her heart. It was likely that this Lan Dimeo did not get involved in the Lan family and the Divine Devil Hall's matters. It was also possible that the cooperation between the Lan family and the Divine Devil Hall was only carried out in private, so Lan Dimeo did not know anything about it. Otherwise, Lan Dimeo would not have shown a look of disdain and would have tried his best to trick her into going to the Lan family. Chapter 4707 Parents' Whereabouts. Yun Shujo showed a troubled expression and said, "Great uncle, although I am very happy to be able to go with you to the Lan family, my cultivation is so low. If I go to the Lan family, I will definitely be ridiculed by others. I will not go." Lan Dimeo snorted coldly. "It is rare that you have self-awareness. Although you are a little useless, there is no reason for the blood and bones of the Lan family to be left outside. Needless to say, you will leave this place with me immediately." Yun Shujo once again began to cry. "Uncle, grandfather, it's not that I don't want to go back to the Lan family with you. I'll tell you the truth. My father and mother have gone missing. I want to wait for them to come back." Yun Shujo guessed in her heart that the jade token should be very important. Otherwise, Lan Dimeo could have sent a servant or a junior from the family over. He would not have come personally. Then the question came. Since this Lan Dimeo had come to look for her, why didn't he go to look for her mother before? This did not make sense. Or did he just find out the whereabouts of his grandmother? Just as Yun Shujo was wondering, Lan Dimeo said, "I also just found out the whereabouts of the two of you. Otherwise, I would not have let your mother marry that Yun Fengjin." Just pretend that your parents are dead. The Lan family will naturally help you choose a suitable marriage in the future. You can be considered to have a future. Yun Shujio almost died from anger when she heard that. What did he mean by pretending that her parents were dead? How could he say that? Uncle, Grandpa, what do you mean by that? Do you know the whereabouts of my parents? There's no need for you to know so much. Hurry up and leave with me. I still have a lot of things to do. I don't have time to waste here with you. Lan Dimeo was clearly getting impatient. If it weren't for the fact that he wanted to find out the whereabouts of the jade token, he wouldn't have bothered to come and claim such a good-for-nothing. Yun Shujio was very shrewd. She guessed that Lan Dimeo had kept the jade token for her. She said, Uncle, Grandpa, didn't you just ask if there was a jade token? Maybe my grandmother gave the jade tablet to my mother. Why don't you ask my mother? Lan Dimeo said unhappily, do you think I didn't think of this? Those two idiots were locked up by the Zen sect. Those bald donkeys are very stubborn. They didn't even give face to our Lan family. How am I supposed to ask them? Yun Shujio was shocked. Zen sect? Her parents were actually locked up by the Zen sect? No wonder the gigolo specifically told her not to provoke the Zen sect in the future. Could there be some secret behind this? However, how could her parents provoke the Zen sect and even be locked up? Could it be related to the Yun family's ancestral mausoleum? Lan Dimeo saw that Yun Shujio didn't say anything, so he simply stood up. Without greeting Master Ouyang, he grabbed Yun Shujio's arm and walked out. Master Ouyang naturally wouldn't just sit by and do nothing. Senior, you, before Master Ouyang could finish his words, Lan Dimeo released his pressure on him and forcefully shut the rest of his words in his mouth. Yun Shujio recovered from her shock and thought that it wouldn't be too bad to take this opportunity to go to the Chongshao continent. It would be a good opportunity to see what happened to the gigolo and find out about her parents. However, she had a worry. The Lan family must be related to Lan Luochen. It would be difficult to deal with him. Thinking of this, she quickly said, Uncle, I will follow you back. Don't be angry. However, do you know someone called Lan Luochen? Chapter 4708 Lan Dimeo frowned unhappily. Of course I know him. Why did you mention him? Yun Shujio saw that Lan Dimeo did not seem to like Lan Luochen, and she could not help but feel happy. She said aggrievedly, Uncle, Grandfather, I have offended him previously. If he asks for someone from you, you won't hand me over to him, right? Lan Dimeo snorted, he's just a junior. How can he ask for someone from me? Besides, I don't know what he did wrong a few days ago. Big brother locked him in the Lan family's forbidden area. He won't be able to come out for a while. What are you afraid of him for? Yun Shujio let out a sigh of relief when she heard that. She thought to herself that it would be best to keep him locked in the forbidden area. Although the Lan family had colluded with the Divine Devil Hall, as long as they were not exposed to the public, she should be able to handle it if she was a little more careful. Hence, this fellow smiled like a flower. Great uncle, your words are too domineering. As the saying goes, mother and uncle are the eldest while great uncle is the eldest. From now on, I will be relying on you to take care of me. The corner of Lan Dimeo's mouth twitched. This little girl was able to climb to her current position from the lowest grade continent. Could it be that she relied on flattery? Lan Dimeo snorted coldly and did not say anything. With his status, he naturally would not be fooled by a few good words. Yun Shujio continued, Great uncle, you must be very tired after coming all the way here. Why don't you condescend to rest here for a night so that I can say goodbye to everyone? You love me so much, so you definitely won't reject me, right? Master, quickly prepare a good courtyard for my great uncle. Then, fish out the carefree fish and stew it for my great uncle. Also, prepare a pot of spirit wine. You can accompany my great uncle to drink 2 cups of wine. Master Ouyang hurriedly said, Senior Lan, what little ninth girl said makes sense. Although our place can't compare to the Chongshao continent, you've been traveling all the way here. It won't be too late for you to rest for a night before leaving. Lan Dimeo frowned and said impatiently, All right, let's stay for a night. We will leave at midnight tomorrow morning. Great uncle, you are so good to me. I will be filial to you in the future. I will catch the fish for you personally. Hei Xingjiu ran away as soon as she said that. Lan Dimeo's frown deepened. How could a girl behave like this? However, she had always lived in a low-class continent and had never been taught by a strict lady. It was no wonder that she was like this. When she returned to the Lan family, she would definitely find a strict woman to teach her properly. Master Ouyang carefully invited Lan Dimeo to a good guest house and arranged for someone to send over high-class spirit fruits and pastries. Lan Dimeo naturally did not like these things, but he did not say anything. He just impatiently asked Master Ouyang to leave. Master Ouyang wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. Just as he returned to the courtyard, he saw Yun Chuzhou waiting for him with a smile. The master and disciple entered the house. Yun Chuzhou knelt on the ground and kowtowed 3 times respectfully. Master Ouyang's nose was sore. Although this little disciple hadn't been accepted for long, and sometimes he even felt that she was too noisy, but when he thought of the separation in the future, his heart was very sour. Get up. This trip of yours is probably very dangerous. Why don't you take this opportunity to leave? The towering sky continent is so big, the Lan family might not be able to find you. Moreover, their spiritual power will be restricted in the towering sky continent, and they can't do anything to you. Chapter 4709. The evil disciple Yun Chuzhou smiled and shook her head. Master, if I leave like this, the Lan family will definitely vent their anger on the Nameless Sword sect. Moreover, I can take this opportunity to go to the Chongshao continent to inquire about my parents. Moreover, you have to believe me. It might not be someone who is unlucky. When Master Ouyang thought of this fellow's evil schemes, the worry in his heart immediately dissipated a lot. Indeed, it might not be someone who was unlucky. Master, I had a dream last night. Grandmaster taught me a few more moves. I'll demonstrate them to you now. Hei Xingjiu said as she demonstrated the half-set of sword techniques she had learned on the stone wall to Master Ouyang. Master Ouyang stood up in shock, his face dumbfounded. With his eyesight, he could naturally see the profundity of this sword technique. This sword technique was much more advanced than the nameless sword technique he was practicing now. While Master Ouyang was still in shock, Yun Chuzhou took out a few pieces of paper and drew the diagrams of these sword techniques one by one. After thinking for a while, she drew a copy of the modified Big Dipper sword formation and handed it to Master Ouyang. Master, Patriarch told me all this in my dream. He probably knows that I'm leaving the Nameless Sword sect, so he taught me everything last night, Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. Master Ouyang looked at the diagram in his hand, trembling. He knew that these things could ensure the safety of the Nameless Sword sect for several years. He couldn't help but sigh. The best decision he had made in his life was to take in such a disciple. While he was thinking, Yun Chuzhou took out a few big buckets and said, Master, well, I'll treat these little things as my gift to you. Hei Xingjiu ran away as soon as she finished speaking. Master Ouyang looked down and saw that the buckets were filled with carefree fish. Master Ouyang recalled the carefree fish case and immediately shouted, Evil disciple! Come back! Hei Xingjiu had already gone to bid farewell to her acquaintances. Elder Duanmu, Elder Dongfang, Elder Gu, Hall Master Zhuge, Zhao Hui, Li Zhuangji. In the end, this fellow hopped into Elder Wan's courtyard. Elder Wan, I'm leaving. Don't you have anything to say? Elder Wan had hardly left his house these days, and Wan Pengcheng rarely showed his face. Even so, Elder Wan was still very well informed. He knew that Yun Shujiu was going to the Lan family in the Chongshao continent. He could not help but smile bitterly. He had wanted to kill her, but in the end, he had ended up in this state, while she had ascended to the heavens in one step. Now that he saw Yun Shujiu coming, he thought that Yun Shujiu was here to show off. He sneered and said, "You are here to take revenge, right? The winner is the king, and the loser is the bandit. You can do whatever you want with him." Yun Shujiu said with a smile, "Take revenge? I don't have the time. I just came to tell you a piece of news out of kindness. The previous Wan Qingba was a fake from the Divine Devil Hall. The real Wan Qingba should have died long ago. In addition, that fake Wan Qingba has already been killed by me. I will take revenge for you." Yun Shujiu turned to leave after saying that. Elder Wan was stunned for a moment and shouted, Why did you tell me all this? Why did you do this?" If Yun Shujiu did not tell him, he would be troubled by this inner demon for the rest of his life. Shouldn't she hate him? Yun Shujiu stopped in her tracks, turned around, and said indifferently, "Elder Wan, it's true that we have personal grudges, but you and I are both members of the Nameless Sword sect." Yun Shujiu only said this before turning around and leaving. Chapter 47:10 Elder Wan was stunned for a moment and didn't say anything. Wan Pengcheng walked up to him and asked in confusion, "Grandpa, what does she mean?" Elder Wan sighed, "She wants me to give up on the fight with the sect master. She's half bribing me and half threatening me. Forget it. It's hard for me to rise again anyway. As long as you work hard in the future, you'll be able to live up to the ancestors of the Wan family." On the other side, Dog 2 asked in confusion, "Little fairy, why did you tell that old thing the truth? Can't you just let him go mad? Or just kill him with one strike?" Although Elder Wan looks like he has been suppressed to the point where he can't make a comeback, he has been in business for several years. Furthermore, he should still have some influence outside the sect. Even if you kill him, his subordinates will be a hidden danger sooner or later. Now, the three sects of the two islands have just redivided their sphere of influence, so it is still peaceful. However, there will be a fight sooner or later. If the Nameless Sword sect fights among themselves, they will definitely suffer a loss in the future. So, why don't I sell him a favor and make him give up on coveting the sect leader's heart? Yun Shujiu said faintly. "Little fairy, although what you said makes sense, what if he still refuses to come to his senses? Aren't you wasting your good intentions?" Yun Shujiu didn't answer but face. Instead, she opened her hand, and a spirit bee landed on her palm. The spirit bee repeated what Elder Wan and Wan Pengcheng had said. Yun Shujiu nodded and let the spirit bee go. She curled her lips and said, "If he refuses to come to his senses, he will naturally be killed. However, he is still smart enough to know what to do." Dog 2 thought to itself, it was just like it said, how could this black-hearted little girl be so kind? So she had a backup plan. Yun Shujiu bade farewell once before returning to her own courtyard. She then sent a message to Xiao Yu before releasing Qi Ying. Rabbit. Qi Ying lay on the ground half dead and did not make a sound. He looked as if he was in deep sorrow. Yun Shujiu chuckled. "Little shadow, I'm going to the Chongshao continent soon. Are you surprised?" As Qi Ying and Yun Shujiu had no spiritual sense connection, he did not know anything about Lan Dimao. He was stunned and then said angrily, "You want to go to the Chongshao continent? Your spiritual power level is not enough. Are you playing me again?" Yun Shujiu blinked her eyes. "I'm telling the truth. Not only do I want to go to the Chongshao continent, I also want to go to the Lan family." Yun Shujiu did not mention the Lan family, but when she mentioned the Lan family, Qi Ying was so angry that he was twitching. "Yun Shujiu, are you still going to lie to me with that nonsense? What do you mean you're going to choose Lan Luochen? Pooey." No matter how stupid I am, I won't believe your nonsense anymore. Qi Ying snorted coldly and continued to lie on the ground, pretending to be dead. He would not be fooled again. However, he heard Yun Shujiao say coldly, "Little shadow, do you want to change into a female rabbit's body?" Qi Ying immediately jumped up and said, "Well, I was thinking about the Lan family just now." "What do you want to know?" "I promise to tell you everything I know." Yun Shujiao glanced at him but didn't say anything. Qi Ying immediately said, "You also know that I went to the ghost region earlier, so I don't know what happened recently. When I left the heavy cloud continent, the Lan family had 3 branches. Everyone knew about the internal intrigue of the family." Chapter 47:11, Rules of the Lan family. Yun Shujiao was not surprised to hear Qi Ying's words. Not to mention a big family like the Lan family, even a small family would fight for benefits. Qi Ying saw that Yun Shujia's expression did not change and sneered, "Do you think this is very common? Then you might not know that the Lan family often fights. As long as no one dies, no one will care." The Lan family's junior competition, which was held every 6 months, was extremely brutal. If they died, they died. No one would ask about it. Therefore, those who could become the young master of the Lan family or the family head had their hands stained with blood. They were all ruthless people. However, doing so had its benefits. At least the Lan family had always stood strong. Because no one wanted to lose their lives, they would naturally do their best to become stronger. Yun Shujiao was really shocked. Other families at least forbade killing each other on the surface. But why did the Lan family allow it and even encourage it? Logically speaking, shouldn't the head of the family be replaced by someone from the eldest branch? Why would the other branches fight? Yun Shujiao asked in confusion. The Lan family is different from other aristocratic families. Their young master doesn't have to be inherited by the eldest son or grandson of the eldest branch. Instead, he is chosen through layers of selection. Therefore, that Lan Luochen actually gave up the position of the young master for you. He really has deep feelings for you. Putting aside how difficult it was for him to obtain the position of young master, you must know that once he gave up the position of young master, those people who were brought down by him previously would not spare him. TSK, you really have a heart of stone. Qi Ying curled his lips and said. Yun Shujiao laughed lightly and said, "You, a single rabbit, want to talk about feelings with me? Do you think you have the right?" Qi Ying, discrimination. You're blatantly discriminating. Yun Shujiao glanced at him and signaled him to continue talking about the Lan family. That's all I know. Are you really going to the Lan family? Qi Ying asked suspiciously. He really could not understand why Yun Shujiao was suddenly so interested in the Lan family. Could it be that she had really gotten over it? Yun Shujiao said faintly, "I'm going to seek refuge with my great uncle." Qi Ying was dumbfounded. What was that? Seek refuge with his great uncle? Where did a great uncle come from? Yun Shujiao did not explain. Instead, she kept the confused Qi Ying into her spirit beast pouch. She pondered in her heart. No wonder her maternal grandmother had fallen into the immortal Yuan continent. It was highly likely that she was the victim of the Lan family's struggle. In the eyes of the Lan family, there were only interests and no kinship. Naturally, they would not care whether a junior with low talent was dead or alive. This time, Lan Dimeo came to find her. It was probably because of that jade token. Thinking of this, Yun Shujiao took out the jade token that she had found from the Lan family's box. Yun Shujiao wanted Qi Ying to take a look at it, but she was afraid that he would know something extraordinary, so she had no choice but to put the jade medallion away. She thought of her parents who had been locked up by the Zen sect again. She really could not understand how her parents had provoked the Zen sect. She took out the relic of monk Wang Su and looked at it. When the monk Wang Su had asked her to give this relic to the bitter Zen sect before he died, he was probably talking about the Zen sect in the Chongsha continent. This was a reason to get close to the Zen sect. At that time, she would have to plan carefully. What Yunchujo did not notice was that the moment she took out the relic, the demon sky bell and the wooden fish on her wrists flashed with a faint golden light. Chapter 47:12 Qing family of the Valley of Fog. Yunchujo put away the relic and thought of Di Biming, who hadn't heard from her for many days. Logically speaking, no matter how busy he was, he would still find time to visit her. Did something really happen? That night, Hei Shinjo, who had always been ambitious, had a rare bout of insomnia. She didn't fall asleep until dawn. However, she was quickly woken up by Master Ouyang. Little Jiu, Senior Lan is ready to set off. Hurry up and come over. Yunchujo cursed in her heart. Why did this old thing wake up so early for no reason? However, she didn't dare not to get up. She quickly got up, washed up, and rushed to the guest house with a meat bun in her mouth. When Lan Dimeo saw Yunchuji's appearance, he couldn't help but frown. What's wrong with a girl's family? When you return to the Lan family, you'll definitely find someone to teach you the rules. Yunchujo obediently agreed, but in her heart, she sneered. Rules? Wasn't the Lan family's rule that the weak were prey to the strong? This rule was good, and she liked it very much. Yunchujo said to Sect Master Ouyang, Master, I'm leaving with my great-uncle now. Don't worry. Since I was brought back by my great-uncle, he will definitely protect me. Otherwise, once I return, I'll be bullied to death, and he won't have any face, right? Humph. Lan Dimeo snorted coldly. This little girl knew how to climb up the ladder. However, she was dreaming. As long as her life was not involved, he couldn't be bothered. Even though Master Ouyang was very worried, he couldn't say anything. He could only watch Hei Shinjo leave with Lan Dimeo on the flying spiritual device. After Yunchujo got on the flying spiritual device, she turned on the chatterbox mode. Great uncle, your flying spiritual device seems to be much stronger than the one in the sky-high continent. It must cost a lot of money, right? Lan Dimeo snorted coldly. This flying spirit tool was made by the Qing family of the Valley of Fog. Not only is it fast and has strong defense, but it can also attack. Naturally, it is quite expensive. Yunchuji's eyes lit up when she heard that. It can also attack? This was really not bad. If there was a chance, she would buy 180 flying spirit tools for fun. Lan Dimeo probably saw through her thoughts and said with slight disdain, don't even think about this flying spirit tool. This one costs 100 million high-grade spirit stones. Moreover, this kind of high-end flying spirit tool is sold in limited quantities by the Qing family. Even if you have the money, you can't buy it, not to mention that you don't have the money. Hearing Lan Dimeo's words, all the dumb cuties in Yunchuji's spirit beast bag rolled around in laughter. The master of the black-hearted was just rich. And she said that she didn't have any money? She was really blind. Qiying didn't know what these dumb cuties were laughing about and thought that they were laughing at him again. He was so angry that he was twitching. He had had enough of this wretched life. As long as there was a chance, he would get rid of that damned girl no matter what. Hearing Lan Dimeo's words, Yunchujo was also amused in her heart. She was poor. She was poor. She was so poor that she only had money left. Yunchujo shifted her gaze to the decorations inside the flying spirit tool. She found that these things were very high-end and grand. They looked very valuable. Great uncle, this teapot is also fragile. It can't be placed like this. Let me help you keep it too. Great uncle, 2 or 3 of these chairs will be enough. The rest will take up a lot of space here. I don't mind the trouble. I'll help you keep it. Chapter 47:13, Wang Ba Cheng Lan Di Meo was dumbfounded. He had seen a lot of people, but this was the first time he had seen such a thick-skinned person who talked to herself. Moreover, she was just a little girl. How could she be so thick-skinned? Lan Di Meo saw that Yun Shujo quickly swept away all the things in the flying spiritual tool and shouted angrily, "Impudent! You, put it down." Yun Shujo had an innocent look. "Uncle, why are you angry?" "I asked for your opinion, but you didn't object, so I put it away." Lan Di Meo was angry. He didn't object? He was just confused, okay? You really have no rules. Kneel down. Lan Di Meo said angrily. He felt that he had to teach Yun Shujo a lesson, or she wouldn't know his identity at all. Yun Shujo looked at Lan Di Meo in disbelief. "Great uncle, you are my blood-related great uncle. How dare you punish me? Woo, I won't go to the Lan family. I thought that I would enjoy life in the Lan family. It turns out that I'm going to suffer. I won't go." Hei Shinjo shouted as she spoke, but her body was always on guard. If Lan Di Meo made a move, at least she would not be at a disadvantage. The reason why this guy was acting so evilly was to test Lan Di Meo's bottom line. This way, she would have a reference when she went to the Lan family. Lan Di Meo was annoyed by Yun Shuji's howls. He roared, "Shut up. The Lan family has always shed blood but not tears. How can there be a useless thing like you? Hurry up and return everything to me. Otherwise, you'll have to learn the family law. Don't shed tears or shed blood." Hei Shinjo pursed her lips. That was someone else. In her place, anything that could be resolved with tears would naturally be resolved with tears. She cherished her life very much. Hei Shinjo pouted and returned the things. Of course, this fellow would not hand them all over. He would have to secretly hide some good things. Lan Di Meo was infuriated by her. Without looking carefully, he directly sent her to another cabin. Out of sight, out of mind. Hei Shinjo returned to her own cabin. Her eyes flashed. Lan Di Meo actually didn't punish her. It seemed that the jade token was very important. Of course, she also knew that Lan Di Meo was too lazy to argue with a junior like her. Otherwise, he would have dealt with her long ago. The flying spiritual device flew to a seemingly ordinary valley. However, after Lan Di Meo formed a seal, a barrier appeared and dragged Yun Shujo inside. Hei Shinjo knew that this should be the passage leading to the Chongshao continent. Lan Di Meo summoned the flying spiritual device again and continued on his journey with Hei Shinjo. Along the way, Hei Shinjo leaned on the porthole and looked out. She had never seen many plants and demonic beasts before. The first thought that popped up in her mind was, these things should be delicious, right? A few days later, the flying spiritual weapon landed outside a towering city. Yun Shujo looked up and saw two big words written on the plaque on the city, Imperial City. The two words were really hard and powerful. However, Hei Shinjo felt that there seemed to be another word in the middle of the word Imperial City that had been erased by someone. This was because the color of the middle part was obviously different from the other parts. This fellow thought to himself, could the word in the middle be 8? Bastard city. Lan Di Meo saw the silly smile on Yun Shuji's face and thought that she had been intimidated by the aura of the Imperial City and looked down on her even more. Chapter 47:14 Buying clothes. Lan Di Meo glared at Yun Shujo. Why aren't you following us? Yun Shujo bared her white teeth and quickly followed. Uncle, grandfather, did we change the name of this city? Lan Di Meo snorted coldly. Nonsense. This place has always been called the Imperial City. Stop being petty and don't embarrass the Lan family. Otherwise, when we return to the manor, I will get someone to apply for the family law. Yun Shujo cursed in her heart. Pui. She was not a member of the Lan family. She was a member of the Yun family. However, this fellow seemed to be able to bend and bend as he said with a smile, "Great uncle, I don't want to embarrass myself either. But look at the girls on the street who are dressed so well. I, the grand cousin of the Lan family, am dressed like a beggar. Shouldn't you buy me a few sets of new clothes? Otherwise, not only will I embarrass the Lan family, but it'll also embarrass the third concubine." Lan Dimeo thought about it and realized that it made sense. Those two concubines were not good people. Perhaps they were waiting to see the third concubine make a fool of herself. If it were not for them, Qishang would not have fallen to the immortal Yuan continent. After Lan Qishang went missing, the Lan family had searched for her for a while. However, Lan Qishang was only a concubine, and her talent was very poor. Later on, they stopped searching for her. While thinking, Lan Dimeo brought Yun Chujo to a satin shop and said to the shopkeeper, "Help her pick out a few suitable clothes." The shopkeeper quickly said respectfully, "Yes, third elder Lan." The shopkeeper pointed at a few clothes and said, "Miss, the clothes here are all high quality and well made. Which style do you like? My great uncle is not short of money. Pack these for me. I want all of them. Put the big red one outside. I want to wear it later," He Shinjo said arrogantly. Hearing that, the shopkeeper immediately went to pack the clothes with a big smile on his face. However, he was puzzled in his heart. This little girl called third elder Lan great uncle? It was really strange. Third elder Lan didn't have any sisters. He had a sister who was born out of wedlock. Hadn't she been missing for many years? Although Lan Dimeo did not like Yun Chujia's greedy behavior, he did not say anything. However, a moment later, when Yun Chujo changed into the bright red dress and came out, he was really stunned. Could it be that people rely on clothes? Why did he suddenly feel that this little girl's bearing was much better than those women at home? Just as Lan Dimeo was in a daze, he saw Yun Chujo bared her little white teeth. "Uncle, Grandpa, now that we have these new clothes, don't we still need to buy some jewelry?" Lan Dimeo instantly threw his previous thoughts to the back of his mind. This was just a little trash who liked to take advantage of others. She was simply not presentable. However, he still brought Yun Chujo into the jewelry shop to buy a few pieces of jewelry before returning to the third branch of the Lan family. The moment he reached the door, he saw that everyone was already waiting for him. When they saw Lan Dimeo return, everyone bowed one after another. Some called him father, some called him grandfather, and some called him grandfather. All in all, everyone was very respectful. Of course, while everyone bowed, they naturally looked at Yun Chujo, who was dressed in bright and beautiful clothes. This was especially so for the ladies. One look at Yun Chujia's clothes and jewelry and they knew that she was from the best shop in the imperial city. Furthermore, they were all very expensive. They started to suspect that this country bumpkin from the lower continent was very popular with the third elder. Lan Dimeo only nodded and took the lead to walk into the manor. He Shinjo also followed behind. The others were stunned for a moment before following behind. Chapter 47:15 Finding an ant. The living room of the Lan family's 3 branches was very spacious. Even if dozens of people from the Lan family's 3 branches followed them in, it would still be more than enough. After Lan Dimeo sat down, the people who followed him in finally found their seats according to their status. Only Yun Chujo stood behind Lan Dimeo. This guy was very shrewd. If she stood in the middle of the living room, she would give people the feeling that she was at the mercy of others. However, when she stood behind Lan Dimeo, people subconsciously felt that Lan Dimeo was protecting her. After all, Lan Dimeo was the leader of the third house. She naturally had to make good use of this golden uncle. Lan Dimeo took 2 sips of tea before he looked at Yun Chujo and said, "This is Yun Chujo. Her grandmother is my sister who has been missing for many years. She will stay in the third house from now on. Boss, please settle her down properly and find her a strict woman to teach her manners. Alright, let's go. After Lon Di finished speaking, he flung his sleeves and left. Once Lon Di left, the men in the 3 branches also left, leaving behind only a few women. One of the middle-aged women said gently, "Little Joe, I am your aunt. Please treat this place as your own home. Don't treat me as an outsider." Yun Shujo sneered in her heart. Was this old White Lotus reminding her that she was a guest? She had just arrived, and he was already doing this to her? How interesting. She smiled and said, "Thank you, first aunt. The blood of the Lon family flows in my body. Isn't this my home?" The middle-aged woman, who was Lon Di eldest daughter-in-law, Zhuang Shi's expression froze, but she instantly returned to her original gentle expression. "You little girl, you really know how to talk. You must be tired from your journey. Go back to the courtyard and rest. I'll help you introduce your family another day." Yun Shujo thanked him with a smile and then followed a maid to her courtyard. She knew that Lon Di was trying to put her in her place. Otherwise, he should have gotten someone to help her introduce the people from the 3rd branch before leaving. However, Lon Di left in a hurry after saying a few words. Could this old man be taking revenge on her because she had spent his money? Zhuang Shi did not mistreat Yun Shuji's residence. The courtyard was very elegant, and she even arranged for 4 maids. 2 of the maids were to serve Yun Shujo while the other 2 were to do some menial work in the courtyard. Everything looked good, except for 2 pots of flowers on the windowsill. Yun Shujo looked at the 2 pots of beautiful flowers. She curled the corners of her lips and said to the 2 maids. The 2 maids did not expect Yun Shujo to threaten them the moment she arrived. Moreover, it seemed that she was not joking, because she was holding a big kitchen knife with a cold light in her hand. Although the 2 handmaidens looked down on Yun Shujo in their hearts, they still did not understand the situation and did not dare to disobey her orders. They could only carry the 2 pots of flowers and bring Yun Shujo to Lon Di courtyard. Lon Di courtyard was naturally not open to anyone. Hei Shinjo was stopped by the guards. Yun Shujo was not angry. Instead, she took out a piece of paper and pen and wrote a note. Then, she said, "Pass these 2 pots of flowers and the note to the 3rd elder. Take these spirit stones and drink tea." As she spoke, Yun Shujo passed the 2 guards 500 high-grade spirit stones each. This was also the amount of money that she estimated based on the prices of the imperial city. As expected, the attitude of the 2 guards immediately became much better. "Miss Cousin, don't worry. We will help you send them in." Yun Shujo nodded and then left with the 2 confused maids. Inside the house, Lon Di opened the note that the guard had given him and was so angry that he started to twitch. On the note, there was a line of words, "Uncle, Grandpa, these 2 pots of flowers are Xiao Zhou's gift to you. I wish that you are more beautiful than the flowers and find me an aunt as soon as possible." Chapter 47:16 was one of the best. Lon Di was so angry. Was it appropriate to use a person more beautiful than a flower on an old man like him? Moreover, what grand aunt? This was simply nonsense. The more Lon Di thought about it, the angrier he got. He was also very displeased with the 2 pots of flowers. Suddenly, his pupils constricted. The sinking spirit flower and the morning glow flower? Although he was not proficient in medicine, he was at least knowledgeable. Although these 2 flowers were not poisonous when placed alone, they could even soothe one's mood and was beneficial to sleep. However, once placed together, over time, it would produce a chronic poison that would make one's body weaker and weaker until death. His gaze fell on the piece of paper again. Looking at the crooked handwriting on it, he was suspicious. Did this little trash see through the strangeness of these 2 pots of flowers, or did he just want to please him? Lon Di Mayo pondered for a moment, then pointed at the pot of morning glow flowers and said to the guard, "Send this pot of morning glow flowers back to the little girl. Just tell her that he'll keep 1 pot here." The guard respectfully agreed. He picked up the pot of flowers and turned to leave Lon Di Mayo's study. However, he was very confused. This 3rd elder and that cousin lady were really interesting. They even sent 2 pots of flowers back and forth. Weren't they just idle? He carried the pot of flowers to Yun Chujio's courtyard. Yun Chujio happily accepted the flowers and wrote a note for the guard to bring back to Lan Di Mayo. The guard thought to himself, the people of the Chongshao continent communicate with each other using voice transmission talismans. How could they send notes back and forth? However, it was also true. This female cousin had just arrived. It was inevitable that she did not know anything. He thought that since this cousin lady was generous, he might as well sell her something. Thus, he said, "Cousin lady, actually, you can ask 3rd elder for one of his voice transmission talismans. That way, it will be more convenient for you to communicate with 3rd elder." Yun Chujio nodded. Voice transmission talismans? It was probably similar to voice transmission talismans. When he had the time, he should ask Old Man Lan for a few of them. Although the guard thought so, he said, "Although the voice transmission talisman is good, some messages are better conveyed through words. Besides, my calligraphy is one of the best. My great-uncle will praise me when he sees it." The guard did not know that the guy in front of him was lying through his teeth. He was embarrassed that he believed him. Yun Chujio said with a smile, "However, thank you for reminding me. How should I address you?" The guard quickly replied, "My name is Zhu Yang." "What a good name. You can go back now." "I have high hopes for you," Hei Shinjo said with a smile. How could Zhu Yang know that this guy was ridiculing him in his heart? He thought that she was sincerely praising him. He thought that this cousin lady was actually more approachable than the other young ladies of the Lan mansion. However, in this Lan family that ate people and did not spit out their bones, such a good character probably would not last long. After Zhu Yang returned to Lan Di Mayo's courtyard, he handed the note in his hand to Lan Di Mayo. After Lan Di Mayo opened it, he saw that there were still 8 crooked words on it. "Give flowers to others, and your hands will have a lingering fragrance." Lan Di Mayo was stunned. The style of this painting had changed too quickly. The previous note was full of nonsense, but the 8 words on this note were somewhat interesting. When Zhu Yang took his leave, he caught a glimpse of the note that Lan Di Mayo had placed on the table. When he saw the crooked handwriting on it, he could not help but stagger, thinking that this handwriting was one of the best. Ugly. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.